Welcome ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Motive Racing YouTube channel for another year here at Motive 2023. We begin the season on the PlayStation 5 platform for our GT3 Championship, strategically placed at the start of the season. I know it's at the end of the week, Sunday, but I thought to myself, we want to start the season off with a bang. We want to have our creme de la creme, our main event of the week on the channel, and that is why we're starting on a Sunday night for this season. The date today is the 15th of January 2023, and here begins season 3 in earnest. We have got 2 tiers for this season for the GT3 Championship on the PlayStation 5 platform. Looks like we've got 26 drivers in this tier 2. Oh my goodness me, how insane is that? 26 drivers in this tier 2. We're expecting, I think, 24, 25 for tier 1 later on, so we've got over 50 drivers competing in our GT3 leagues this evening. I'm stoked for tonight. I'm really looking forward to getting our teeth into some action here. I want to say a shout out to a few of the guys who have been in the comments section in the build up to tonight. We've got Glenn in the comments saying to Spur Time, good luck on your tier 2 debut tonight. Obviously Spur Time there driving in the 144 Aston Martin there as he's coming over the line, about to start a flying lap. I've also got Karoom Naksu there saying good luck everyone. Thank you Karoom, sorry. We've also got Kangi there in the comments there saying good luck everyone. Good to see Kangi in the comments. He is racing it as well in this tier 2 division, and he is, can't find him, actually there he is, driving the number 11 Bentley. So Kangi there, I did actually speak to him and a few of his mates in the party chat earlier on. They needed a bit of help signing up to instillingpro.com, but I walked them through it and they seem like nice guys. Good luck to them tonight. Hopefully they have a good debut here. I know they've been racing on ACC for a few years, but it's their debuts tonight here on the Motive Racing channel. We've also got Spuzz in the comments saying good luck guys. Spuzz will be racing in tier 1 a bit later on. He is our former champion on the PlayStation 4 platform on a Wednesday night, so he knows what it takes to take a championship. We're looking forward to seeing what he can do a little bit later on. Also got JR in the comments saying reminds me of being 17 at Uprising Music, obviously a reference to the to some of the tunage that was playing a few moments ago in the build-up screen. So JR obviously having a bit of a throwback to his childhood there, which is great to hear. But we've got Raki in the comments as well saying good evening all, have a great race. Thank you Raki. Hopefully it's a good clean race, and obviously Raki there was is a veteran here at Motive, but not able to always make the races this season, so he's a reserve for the tier 1s. I don't know if he's able to jump in for the tier 1s later on. Raki, if you're free for the tier 1s, you're more than welcome to jump in. But good to see Raki in the comments here, watching here on live on YouTube right now. We also got Phil Allerton, DJ Phil saying hi Andy, what are you all, I think he's saying how is everyone, or what's up everybody. Well, DJ Phil, very well, looking forward to a good night here. DJ Phil also races with us in the F1 League on a Friday night, and has raced with us sort of sporadically on Project Cars too as well over the years here at Motive. Good to see you, Phil. JR saying Raki with a little bit of a kissy face there. So a little bit of well, I suppose those two, the Team Run DJC members, they see each other in a chat. They have to at least reference each other in some way or another. High Grade saying good luck Lexi Mate. Lexi Mate is currently sat in 7th at the moment in this qualifying session, 8th now because he's just been pushed down the order a little bit. But High Grade also one of the drivers we're expecting to see later on in a tier 1 opener, which will be after this. But we have got 26 drivers here tonight for tier 2. This is going to be an absolute spectacle here. Hopefully everybody keeps it clean into turn 1. It's going to be a tricky first corner to start the season off, but plenty of comments. 17 of you currently watching the stream. Guys, this is an absolute incredible turnout on the stream. And what a night we've got in store for us here, as we've currently got a funny looking guy who is leading this qualifying session here on a 1 minute 48.7. Funny looking guy finished outside the top 15 in last season's tier 1 championship, so he's racing in tier 2 for this time around, but he seems to be already on the pace in this tier 2 championship, and obviously will be fighting for promotion to tier 1 at the end of this season. You've got Kev Sim, who's just gone above him at the top of the leaderboard there by 0.04 of a second, so these two currently chopping and changing positions at the top of the leaderboard. You've got Caprigia running in 3rd place at the moment. He just gets it a little bit wrong there, coming through Ascari and into the wall, and I'm sure he'll be returning to the pits to get that damage fixed there, because that's not gone very well for him. We've got Andrew here just coming into Ascari. Look at this, my namesake. I've got to be, you know what, I've got to at least have a soft spot for him this season, haven't I, seeing as he's got the same first name as myself. But Andrew here in the Audi coming down the back straight. He's currently sat in 4th in this qualifying session at the moment. You got Titan Guto sat in 5th in the number 19 Ferrari. Kangi is just been pushed down a little bit due to Luke van der Streets, who's gone into 4th place there in the number 7 BMW. But it's Kev Sim in the number 16 BMW, a funny looking guy in the number 98 BMW, and Capriga in the 280 Lamborghini, the top 3. Luke van der Streets has just been pushed down the order, I think, by Andrew, who's gone 3rd. So lovely lap there from Andrew, only 0.2 of a second off of the provisional pole time. Let's carry on reading down the order. We've got Kangi in the number 11 Bentley, who's currently 7th in this qualifying session. You got Henry, who raced in the social race actually on Wednesday night for the pre-season little event that we had at this track actually, and that was combined tier 1 and 2 drivers, and Henry did a decent job in that one. He's driving the number 14 Audi for this season. Jelram has just gone up into P6. Massive shout out to this man. I can't not introduce him with I've got to kind of like go into this because Jerome is a 3-time champion of our Formula 1 league here at Motive Racing on the Codemasters Formula 1 game. Obviously now it's the EA Sports Formula 1 game, but he won 2 championships on the Codemasters Formula 1 game, and he also won a championship on F1 22 this season, made by EA Sports obviously, so he's won the F1 championship made by 2 different developers basically, which shows that he's a man of many talents. Can he now fight for a title here on Assetto Corsa Competizione, made by obviously 505 Games? Can he stake a claim to this tier 2 title? He's currently 8th at the moment in this session, but he's recently made the switch. I mean, he's still racing on F1, but he has made the step up to proper sim ACC as of recently. His dad Raki has raced on ACC for some time, and he obviously, like father like son, Joram wanting to go the same way and get his teeth cut into some real proper sim action. But he's currently 8th at the moment in this session. Guido Chris has just moved up into 4th place in the number 97 McLaren. You've got Kangi just behind Joram and obviously Henry. Then you've got Lucas Robe in 11th at the moment in the number 75 McLaren. There's Lexi May in 12th at the moment in the 107 Bentley. Tumbaz 13th in the number 82 Porsche. Spur time in the number 144 Aston Martin is now down in 15th place because Jill Silverin has just gone up into 13th place there in the number 77 McLaren. A Coding Monkey in the 720 McLaren is down to 17th place because somebody's just moved up ahead of him. I think that was Tumbaz there who went up. No, it wasn't Tumbaz, sorry. It was Nathan Fletcher, or Nath J. Fletch. I'm going to call him Nathan, in 12th in the number 50 BMW. GPL Racer in the number 59 McLaren is currently 18th in this session. Rusty Man in the number 111 Ferrari in 19th at the moment. You've got Exeron in the number 6 McLaren, currently 20th in this qualifying session. Fednad in 21st place in the number 572 Porsche. VGG, sorry, is in the number 1 BMW. Well, MCVDG, that's a bold statement from yourself there. Go for the number 1. Sparky Franchise in the number 22 BMW is 23rd. China Ski in the number 90 McLaren still at Lap. Day 666T in the BMW, currently in the 666 BMW, as you would probably imagine, is currently still yet to set a lap, and same with Diego 2NL in the number 52 Ferrari. That is the whole entire this season's driver lineup for tier 2 read out here, and we've currently now got a new pace setter in this qualifying session. Titan Guto has gone to the top of the leaderboard here on a 1 minute 48.4, so that is an absolute scorcher there from him. Kev Sim is now in 2nd place. The gap between Kev Sim and a funny looking guy is still only 0.04 of a second, so it's still very tight at the moment between these guys. We currently got 15 of you watching the stream, guys. Smash the like button if you're enjoying the action right now, and if you want to get involved in Motive Racing, I'd recommend you to go to www.motiveracing.com. That is where you can check out our website. That's where you can get all the links to the important stuff like the Discord, like the YouTube. To be fair, you probably don't need a link to the YouTube, because if you're watching this video then you must have already found our YouTube, so why am I suggesting that? Andy, what are you doing, you absolute tool? But nonetheless, we've got Andrew who's just gone up into 4th, or was he already in 4th? I think he was actually. But yeah, guys, if you want to join, www.motiveracing.com, join a Discord server. The link is through our website. You can actually join our ACC leagues. There's not too many spots, as you can probably see, but you can join as a reserve. I'm also hoping to start up a Wednesday sprint GT3 league, and maybe, just maybe, a Porsche Super Cup on Saturday potentially. That's something that I'm definitely thinking about. as we just see Henry there go up into 5th place and moving Guido Chris down. He's now within half a second of the provisional pole time is Henry, so he becomes, he's just missed out on a 1:48 there, just about, I think, a few hundredths of a second off of 1:48, so he's doing a good job at the moment, is Henry, but he's currently got Titan, Kev Sim, a funny looking guy, and Andrew, the only 4 drivers currently in the 1:48 as it stands in this session. I've got a few comments coming in now, a few more comments should I say. Raki says, cheers mate for the invite, but can't unfortunately. Shout out to Joram. Obviously Joram is Raki's son. These two, father and son, they were teammates in the Red Bull in the F1 League here at Motive for 2 seasons in a row. They did win the Constructors' Championship in the first of those 2 seasons as well, but Joram here is currently 10th in this leaderboard at the moment, just over a second off of the pace, so not doing too badly at all when you consider he is new to this ACC game. So it's still plenty of improvement to be made, but obviously, you know, he's a beginner, he's just starting out. We know he's a 3-time champion of our F1 League, so he's no slouch, but we see Titan Guto, the current provisional pole sitter, going wide through Lesmo 1. You've got a funny looking guy coming over the line, doesn't improve on P3 at the moment. It's a bit of a challenge keeping up with everything that's going on. I'm just trying to kind of gauge who's going to be the next driver to cross over the line. We've got Joram coming into the Parabolica. He has got the number 6 of Exa on the McLaren just behind him, so we're going to watch these guys as they're coming out of the Parabolica. Great to see 2 tiers, says Raki. Glenn says we'll try and do you proud, says he says to Raki as well. And Joram coming over the line, what can he do? Stays in P10 for the time being. It doesn't look like Extron improved either behind him. Phil Allerton saying you may see me do Sundays ACC, going to be dipping my toes into ACC on a different racing league on Wednesday, and hopefully dipping my toes into ACC Motive soon as well. Phil, it'd be awesome to see you on ACC. I know that you've been racing with us on Project Cars 2 for years now. I've personally raced with you on Project Cars 2, probably getting on for 4 years now. So yeah, it's been a while since you've been racing on Project Cars 2. It'd be great to see you on another sim. We've also got Graki saying always proud of you mate, but a bit more if you get a podium. They're super fast here, says Glenn, but it's a new car, let's see how it goes. Raki says, well, that transition from F1 to 22 ACC goes quite well for Joram. Finally he's bought a PS5. Well, I assumed you were going to be both on the same PS5, but good to hear that you've actually got separate ones, so if you wanted to, you could both race in tier 1 next season, maybe. Who knows, possibly, maybe. Who knows? If Joram gets promotion, it was very early doors yet. I don't want to speak too soon. Let's not get ahead of ourselves, let's not blow his head off before he's even got his toes into it. But we've also got High Grade there saying, damn, not one AMG. Yeah, surprising. Obviously you've got to stick with the same car for the whole season, so it's not about picking it for this particular race. You have to stick with the same thing for every single race. So I suppose people are thinking strategically. They don't want to just sort of like go for a car that's going to be very quick around this track, but then not necessarily the rest of them. But I know for sure we saw a few AMGs in the social race on Wednesday, so I'm expecting a few AMGs to be out on the track for the tier 1 race, High Grade, for sure. Raki says 48 are seriously quick times, great to see. Yeah, we did see, I've seen a 47 come in from MBGT in the build up. I know that he's also in the Merc as well, which is going to be interesting. Joram in the meantime has gone into P5 within 0.4 of a second now of the pole time, so he's creeping closer and he will get one more run here. Joram is just starting a final flying lap, so we'll keep half an eye on him for the end of this session. We've got Glenn there saying you're the number 1 AMG driver this season, then High Grade. High Grade says I think 2 in tier 1, but yeah, AMG first, Bentley's my next car, he says. So I don't know which one we're going to be seeing High Grade in tonight. Obviously we don't know what cars people are going to be in until we actually get to the sessions. That's something I've decided to do for this season. Don't make people select their car before the season starts. Everybody can just enter the championship and they get to pick their car at the first race. So whatever you go with for the first qualifying session, you're locked in. That's what you got to stick with for the rest of the season. Always Joram gets it all wrong there coming through Lesmo 1. Did he manage to keep the momentum there? Looked like he lost a couple of tenths. He goes wide out of Lesmo 2. That is actually the line you want to take. The wide line is the more advantageous line, but coming up towards the bridge which goes underneath the old circuit, which used to obviously be part of the oval circuit on Monza, the right-handed oval, one of the only right-handed oval circuits in the world. As we see Joram here coming through Ascari, took a little bit of curve in the midpoint, but looks to be pretty solid as he comes out onto the back straight now. 18 if you're currently watching the stream. Smash the like button, guys, if you're enjoying tonight's stream. We can see Kevsim is in the pit, so he's not improved enough to get near Titan. He improved by a few thousandths of a second by the looks of it, but Joram here coming out of the Parabolica, can he get a little bit closer to the pole time set by Titan Guto? No, he can't. He's backed out, he's bailed, so that looks like that's going to be that then for him. Leximate in the pits. Jill Silverin's coming out of Ascari at the moment. You've got Day 666 in the pits. Doesn't look like he's going to be improving here at the end of this session. I think that is going to be that for this session. I think that we're all done pretty much. Just checking down the order, seeing, I think we're all in the pits. Spocky Franchise is still out there. He is just coming through Ascari now, but looks like pretty much all 26 drivers are done now for this session. As where's Jill Silver, and he's now in the pits as well. So I think that is going to be that then for the tier 2 qualifying session. So it's going to be Titan Guto lining up on pole position for this one by 0.2 of a second ahead of Kevsim. So a solid margin there for Titan. He's certainly not under huge pressure, but nonetheless it's not a massive gap. It's just a solid it's a cushion, but it's not comfortable. Kevsim, I think, looking go very close in second and third places. Andrew and Joram not too far away. It's a very, very, very tight qualifying session here. A second covers the top 10, 7/10 covers the top 9, 4/10 covers the top 5. Oh, what's happened here? Oh, I thought we were frozen for a second. Oh my god, imagine the scenes. Oh my god, imagine if we actually disconnected there. So we've actually got just under 2 minutes to go until the start of this season here for Motive Racing's PlayStation 5 GT3 Championship here on Assetto Corsa Competizione. So we've got loads of comments coming in here tonight. Absolutely great to see that plenty of people are watching here. We got High Grade. He says, it looks like everybody's getting quicker on the PS5 version than PS4, and I'm getting slower on the PS5. I think the PS5 version is about half a second to a second slower than the PS4. That's what Jazzman told me the other night when we were doing that social race. Jazzman and I were in a party chat for that social race, and he said to me he reckons that the gaps is about a second at the start, but now I think he reckons the potential is to be down to about half a second. It's just about getting used to the physics, really. We got Raki saying, where does Joram 22 get his talent from? Not his father. Yeah, P5, he only 4/10 off of the pole time, so Joram could be a genuine contender for a podium, maybe even a race win if you can play this strategy correctly here. Game for Life saying, good luck Joram. JR says, Andy's hot. I appreciate that, mate, appreciate that. I don't actually swing that way, so but you know, nonetheless, compliment taken, thank you. But we've just got over 30 seconds left until the start of the race. The guys will be able to ready up once we get to the 30-second mark. They've obviously been figuring their pit strategies and making sure they've got enough fuel. Some people will be full tanking it, some people will be half tanking it. It really depends on driver preference. If you want to full tank it,
20 seconds.
You have a much quicker pit stop, but your car is going to be slower throughout the entire race because you'll be running more fuel and you're going to not be changing tyres unless you're on some kind of mad one. But basically, there's no advantage to not changing. There's no advantage to changing tyres if you're going to run a half tank. It's completely pointless. So yeah, you're either going to full tank it and not change tyres, or you're going to half tank it and change tyres. But nonetheless, we're going to see what the guys do here tonight. It's going to be fascinating to see the strategy and how it all plays out. We can just notice that MCVDG hasn't readied up at the start, so he'll be starting this one from the pits. It's not too much of a disaster. It's a 1 hour race. You lose about 10-15 seconds starting from the pits, but obviously you'll have to start from the very back as well. You'll have a lot of work to do in this race. But here we go then. We're coming out of Parabolica now, 19 if you're currently watching the stream, getting ready to see what happens here for the opener of the Tier 2 Championship here at Motive, as we're now getting ready to go green. You will probably hear an alarm go off about halfway through this race, guys, by the way, just a little heads up, because I've got an alarm set for when I need to restart the Tier 1 server. But nonetheless, here we are, we're coming up towards the line now, and we'll be green in just a moment. And here we go, we are underway for the start of Season 3 here, Tier 2 for the GT3 Championship on ACC here at Motive. And Titan looks like he's got a decent start, as we can already see Kevsim trying to cover off a funny looking guy down towards Turn 1. Let's hope that everybody keeps it clean and we don't see any disasters here. Looks like everybody's pretty tidy so far. A little bit of argy-bargy there in the mid-pack as somebody is round, and I think that was Leximate there who got tagged around coming into Turn 1. We've got actually somebody facing the wrong way in the background there as well. Somebody's all been tipped over. There's absolute carnage there in the background. Oh my goodness me, that was Sparky Franchise, who was being punted around all over the place. Plenty of drivers have fallen by the wayside here at the start, but it's Titan leading down towards the De La Rocha chicane. As you can see there in the background, you've got Andrew trying to attack on a funny looking guy. Kev Sim though has managed to keep ahead of a funny looking guy as they're coming down to Lesmo 1. Now Kev Sim's looking to try and attack on Titan in towards Lesmo 1. It up the inside, he can't make it happen, and Titan holding it around the outside for the time being. Now Kev Sim's got to watch out because the funny looking guys are attacking him into Lesmo 2. In the background you've got Henry trying to attack on Andrew as well. As we can see there, that's the McLaren there getting it a little bit wrong there, coming on the exit of Lesmo 1. That was Jill Silverman, but he managed to hold on to it. And then there is the pack of cars who had an absolute nightmare at the start of this race. You can see there's a load of them here really detached in this race. There's a Coding Monkey ahead of Nathan J. Fletch, followed by GPL Racer, Fednat there behind them. You've got China Ski in the pits, MCVDG and Sparky Franchise. Sparky Franchise was getting bullied around at the start there. MCVDG started from the pits. It's been a dramatic first lap here. Titan Guto, Kev Sim, a funny looking guy. That's like 3 wide though, coming down the back straight. Here we come down towards Parabolica. What is going to happen? Titan are keeping it around the outside, but Kev Sim's up the inside. A funny looking guy trying to hold it down the middle here. Is a funny looking guy going to lose out on his position? I think he might be about to, because Kev Sim is going to get a much better run here out of Parabolica. They're going to be side by side. They're going to be fighting over this slipstream from Titan though, and in fact a funny looking guy has managed to keep it around the outside with more momentum there. He's now trying to rob Kev Sim of that slipstream as he's now tucking in behind Titan Guto for the time being, but it's Titan ahead of a funny looking guy. Kev Sim there in third place. Guido Chris is running in fourth ahead of Cabriglia, followed by Kangi. There's Andrew on the back of him as Andrew's now looking to the inside of Kangi into turn 1, and he's got a little bit late on the brakes there as Andrew. Oh, and he's looking up the inside. Kangi saw him coming there, and in fact Andrew there around the outside, and Kangi not getting it a little bit wrong on the exit of the corner. Kangi loses out. Andrew's up into 6th place there ahead of him, but plenty of action going on at the start of this race. You can see there's a bit of damage there on, I think that's Lucas Robe, is it there? I'm not sure at the moment. I'm just getting used to all the liveries, all the numbers, and who's who at this point. But Guido Christ ahead of Capriga, battling for 4th and 5th places. There's Kangi ahead of Luke van der Streets, followed by Day 666, who's made absolute tons of positions at the start of this race, and they're all filing through. Oh, there's a McLaren there who goes over the curve. That's Exeron there into the wall. We'll have a bit of damage there on the left front of that car. He's now lost out. As you can see, a Ferrari there managing to weave his way through the gaps there. Diego's now looking onto the back here of Jill Silverin. So this is a tight little battle here, as now Diego's going to be looking to the inside into Lesmo 2. In fact, is that spur time there in front of him? I think it is actually spur time there, running just ahead of Diego right now. But wow, it's quite an unbelievable first few laps of this race with with obviously we saw the big pile up coming on the exit of the first chicane, and we can see now Titan has managed to gap Kev Sim a bit. What has happened to a funny looking guy? A funny looking guy shot down to 11th place. He's got huge damage there. Oh, a funny looking guy has been through the wars somewhere. I don't know what's happened. He needs to get himself into the pits and get that fixed. Joram has also not had the best first couple of laps to this race. He's down in 12th place here after starting in P5. I didn't really see what happened to him. He hasn't got any noticeable damage at this point, so clearly he's been involved in something. I don't know if he had a spin or what, but Joam is down to 12th place here in this race, and you can see they're all filing down the start-finish straight. Day 666 though, the big mover in this race so far, up into 8th place from towards the back of the pack in the qualifying session. Joam is now sizing up Lexi Mate coming down towards turn 1. Is he going to send one here into the first chicane? I think he's going to think about it, but he's going to think better of it for the time being. You've got Jill Silver in there just ahead of Rusty Man, who's trying to close up onto the back of him if he can, and there is a great move there from Nath, I think, on Exeron. Yep, Nath J. Fletch there, moving up into 14th place. A late move on the brakes in the background there. Oh, Ferrari's been spun around. Diego there getting punted around there by his I think that was a number 14 car, was it? Who was that? Don't know. Nath though getting punted around. Very strange there. Getting punted around by Henry, was it? I don't know. It can't have been. Surely not. Well, it's a bit strange. Anyway, we've still got Titan leading the race by just 1.4 seconds ahead of Guido, ahead of Kev Sim. Guido Chris is running in 3rd place ahead of Capriga. You can see those two running very close. Andrew and Kangi also on the back, so it's a four-way battle at the moment for 3rd place. But Titan at the front, just starting to stretch out his gap a little bit. Kev Sim's trying to cling on to him for the time being. But this battle for 3rd place, they're really heating up at the moment. There's a four-way battle. Luke van der Streets isn't too far away either, and Day 666 they're running in 8th place ahead of Lucas Robe. You can see Joram has got damage on the front of the car now, so I wonder if he's just clouted the back of Robe a little bit, but he's now ahead of Lexi Mate nonetheless. But Joram there is not looking too healthy on the front end of that car at the moment. Oh, somebody's binned it there, coming out of Ascari. Somebody's lost it. I think that is Exeron. Is it Exeron? I think it is, yep. No. No, it's Tumbaz. Is it Tumbaz? I don't know. Oh, God. Still struggling to get on top of these liveries here, guys, nonetheless. Day 666 here is dropping down the order. What has happened? Was it him? Was it him? I think it might have been him. Or was it? Yeah, it was day 66. The driver who lost it coming out of Ascari was day 666, and he has dropped down the field like a stone, and he is now absolutely nowhere here in this leaderboard. I need to start looking at the actual manufacturers. That would be a good way to know who's who, but at the moment it's just impossible to keep up with everything. But Titan is leading the race ahead of Kevsim, 1.4 seconds separating those two. Guido Chris has managed to get Andrew a little bit by just over a second. As you can see, Caprighi is there still on the back of Andrew right now as they're coming out of the De La Rocha chicane. Luke van der Street's there ahead of Kangi, followed by Lucas Robe. Gelram there is on the back of Robe at the moment, but still not really close enough to make a move. He has been pressuring him for the last few laps. Caprighi is within a stone's throw though of Andrew. As you can see, those two coming out of Lesmo 2, and Caprighi will be trying to get a good run here, maybe try and have an opportunity going into Ascari, but for the time being Andrew has got hold of that one. Exeron is currently on the back of Nathan J. Fletcher's. These two battered it out over 11th place, as well as Jill Silverin's just ahead of Tumbaz, followed by Lexi May. A bit of a gap back to spur time, who seems to be reeling them in actually now. Fednad is just ahead of day 666, who made that mistake a few laps ago. You can see there he's now running 18th place, just ahead of GPL and Diego, and that is a notification for me to restart the tier 1 server, so I'm going to do that right now. But yeah, absolutely exciting first few laps to this race, and a few drivers have been into the pits to make their mandatory pit stops. That is Henry and a Coding Monkey, so it's only actually 2 drivers who have been into the pits already to make their stops. Everybody else still has got to make their pit stop at some point throughout the race. Leader's still Titan Guto at the moment by just over a second, but Kevsim is matching his every lap time at the moment. There's not really much separating these two at all in terms of overall pace, and yeah, they look very evenly matched at this stage. Just to any of the tier 1 drivers who are listening, who are watching the stream right now, the tier 1 server is now live, so if somebody can post it in the ACC PS5 chat, just let everyone know that the tier 1 server is now live. My computer's just going a bit slowly, but it should be going live in a second, guys. If you could just let me know, give me an A firm to let me know that that's all gone through correctly. But currently Guido Chris is still just holding off Andrew at the moment. Caprighi is getting ever closer to Andrew. Luke van der Street's ahead of Kangi, followed by Joram. There's Lucas Robe, they're running in 9th place, bit of a gap back to Rusty Man in P10. There's Nathan J. Fletcher, who's managed to gap Exeron by 1.5 seconds here. Jill Silverin is running in 13th place, still ahead of Tumbaz. You can see there, Lexi Mate looking to the inside on Tumbaz into Lesmo 1. He's a bit too far back at the moment. Spur time there in the background. You can see there's a lapped car. Is it a lapped car? No, it's not. That is spur time there, who's running just behind him. Fednad there running in 17th place, who's always gone very wide there out of Lesmo 1. That might present day 66 an opportunity into Lesmo 2, but he's too far back at the moment. You can see quite a few cars running in a short space here. Fednad, Day, GPL, Diego and not Sparky, sorry. It's just those 4 who are battling over 17th place. Sparky's a long way back actually, 12 seconds behind them in 21st place. Obviously Henry and a Coding Monkey have come into the pits. MCVDG looking to be out of the race in the early stages of this one. It's not going anywhere very fast, so we're technically down to 23 drivers here in this opening race of the season. Guys, I've just restarted the tier 1 server again, I think by accident. But yeah, guys who were just a bit worried there about the tier 1 server potentially crashing, it wasn't crashing, that was me manually restarting it. So don't worry, that's me doing that. But Titan Guto nonetheless leading the race by just 2.5 seconds at the moment, so he's got control of this race. Joram and Luke van der Streets have closed up onto the back of Kangi a little bit here. You can see these guys coming through Lesmo 2. They are just separated by about 0.7 of a second. Kangi trying to keep them behind him as much as he can. Is Luke van der Streets going to be able to get enough of a run here, coming underneath the old circuit towards Ascari? You can see that Joram is waiting in the wings as well. Joram with big damage there, making the best of it though, to be fair to him. I think Joram must be on a half tank strategy, because with that damage you would think if he was on a full tank he would definitely be coming into the pits. Oh, and Joram has just lost it coming through Ascari. He bins it onto the gravel there. Lucas Robo is up into 8th place, and Joram there might lose out to Rusty Man, who's coming up on the scene. No, Joram has got it going again, so he's only lost 1 place there as Joram, but a bit of a slide there coming through Ascari. Rusty Man's got just over a second back to Nath, who's managed to gap extra on by a bit now, so he's 2.5 seconds clear of him. Now Nath is going to be hunting Rusty Man down for that final top 10 spot at this point, but at the moment it's still Titan Guto leading this race by just under 2 seconds ahead of Kevsim. Luke van der Streets is on the back of Robe coming down the start finish straight. Is he going to be able to make a move here coming into turn 1? He pulls out of the slipstream now, looking to the inside, but Robe's got it held on to by for the time being. Luke van der Streets a little bit too far back into turn 1, and Robe continuing on his way for now, but Nath is ever closer to Rusty Man, still too far back just at the moment to go for the move as they come on the exit of the first chicane. Titan Guto's gap to Kevsim's come down a little bit. It's now 1.8 seconds, so it's just ebbing and flowing between these two. They seem quite evenly matched at this point. I think Kevsim might try and play it on a strategy here. We're not quite sure what the situation is in terms of who's full tanking it, who's half tanking it, who's changing tyres by the time we get to the pit stop, so it could all change quite a bit based on what we're seeing right now. As Robe a bit wide coming out of Lesmo 1, and Luke just looking to the inside, too far back once again there coming through the corner though. There's Joram in the background, who is currently I think what's happened here to Joram. He's just running in between Luke and Rusty Man at this point. Rusty Man's still got Nath all over him. In fact, has he? Yeah, those two coming underneath the old circuit in towards Ascari, so Nave's just still trying to work him out at this point, but nothing doing at this stage. You got Exeter on there in 12th ahead of Jill Silverin, who's running in P13 right now. Leximate still going in 14th. He's just over a second ahead of Spur Time, a couple of seconds ahead of Tumbaz, who's in 16th place. Day666 in 17th. He's a couple of seconds ahead of Fednad, who's in 18th place right now. Then you got Diego in 19th place, followed by GPL in 20th place. The Sparky franchise running in 21st, a few seconds off of him. Obviously a Henry and a Coding Monkey have both been into the pits already in this race. MCVDG still in the session, and he is back out on track, but for some reason he hasn't counted it as his pit stop, so I don't know quite what's gone on there with him. Luke van der Streets is on the back of Robe here coming into turn 1. Is he going to be able to make the move? Robe, I think, has managed to hold it around the outside again there, and now Luke has got to watch out because Joram is now ever closer to the back of him. Joram will be looking to try and feast on these scraps if he can as they come through the Curva Grande, but Joram will be down on straight line speed. That's going to be really costing him that damage that he's got there on the car. 20 of you currently watching the stream, guys, smash the like button. Joram here is looking to try and make the move. Is he going to send one up the inside here of Luke van der Streets? He's not quite in a position to be able to do that at the moment, and they're still as you were between these three, but Luke van der Streets and Joram trying to put the pressure on Robe more and more as they're coming into Lesmo 1 again. As you can see, Rusty and Nate very close here coming in towards Lesmo 1, but Nave just a little bit too far back at the moment. Exeter on there in 12th. He's been falling off the back of Nath for the last few laps. Jill Silver in there ahead of Leximate. There's Spur Time. You can see them all filing through the De La Rocha chicane. In the mid pack there you've got Fednad, Diego, GPL. There's Sparky franchise. We're going to go back to this battle here though, because it's currently Robe still managing to hold off Luke and Joram as they're coming through Ascari. The gap at the front has come down quite significantly as well. The gap is now only 0.3 of a second between Titan and Kevsim, as Kevsim a bit wide out of Parabolica. That would have cost him some time, but we need to keep an eye on that lead battle, because Kevsim has really gained hand over fist on Titan over the last couple of laps. Back to the battle for 7th for the time being. Robe, Luke and Joram still running quite close. And I tell you what, Luke has got a decent exit there coming out of the parabolic. The BMW next to the McLaren probably a little bit quicker in a straight line, so he might fancy his chances here as they're coming down towards turn 1. Is Robey going to look to, sorry, not Robey, what am I talking about? Yeah, is Robey going to look to try and defend this there from Luke van der Street? Luke van der Street's looking to the inside once again, but just a little bit too far away. And for the time being, Robey is weathering that storm. Rusty Man has still not let Nath off the hook here, despite losing the position. He's dropped down to 11th place, but Nath there up into P10, and Rusty Man still trying to put the pressure on him if he can. Gap at the front between Titan and Kev Sim's just gone up a little bit. It's now almost 8/10 between those two, so Titan has responded to this pressure from Kev. Looks like Titan's got the pace in a straight line. Kev maybe is quicker through the corners, because we see Kev's close back up onto the rear of him through the Lesmos, but then in the first sector Titan was able to leave him a little bit. And so corners like the Lesmos and Ascari, maybe Kev is just a little bit quicker, but then Titan is able to pull out the gaps down the straights. And at the moment, these two, half a second separating them. They're 4 seconds clear of Guido, who's running in the final podium spot, followed by Andrew, who's still on the back of Guido right now. Caprigi has just dropped off of those two a little bit in the battle for the podium spots. He's running a couple of seconds behind there in 5th place. I've already reset the tier 1 servers, guys, you don't have to worry. But yeah, Kangi here is running air in P6. You've got Luke van der Streets, who's currently sat in 7th at the moment. He's still got Robey and Joram on the back of him here as they're coming down towards Parabolica. But it's a 3 battle here for 7th place, as we've seen throughout the course of this one so far. Kev Sim is on the back of Titan here, as we can see now. Half a second between the two leaders. Once again, Kev Sim a little bit too far back to make anything happen there. Andrew still pressuring Guido Christ here in this battle for 3rd and 4th places. Nate's still ahead of Rusty Man as they're coming over the line here at Joram is now ahead of Robey, so he's made that move there as Joram into turn 1. He goes a little bit deep on the brakes though, this Joram, and he might lose out to him again here. He just about makes the corner, but he would have got a horrible exit out of the first chicane, and Robey will look to try and come back at him through the Curva Grande. Now they've dropped off of Luke van der Streets a little bit, but Joram and Robey here coming through the Curva Grande, and now is Robey going to be able to try and send one up the inside? Is he going to try and catch Joram out a little bit here as they're coming now down towards the De La Rocha chicane, and Joram I think just got that one covered off there into the corner, but that would have been a bit of a hairy moment there for Joram, to say the least. But he holds on for now. Rusty Man's still not letting Nath off the hook, despite Nath making a move on him a couple of laps ago. Rusty Man stuck to the task. They've also got Exeron not too far behind them. Jill Silverin still going there in 13th ahead of Spur Time, who's got pressure actually from Lexi Mate. These two having a good little battle. Oh, as Spur Time goes wide onto the gravel, and Lexi Mate is going to look up the inside into Lesmo 1, but he's not going to be able to make anything happen there. Diego and Fednad were battling, but Diego's now just gapped Fednad a little bit. Oh, Diego straight on over the De La Rocha chicane, and he's gained an advantage there, and he needs to make sure he doesn't do that too often, because he would have got a definite warning for that, for sure. And if he does that 3 times in the race, that will be a drive-through, so obviously the game will take care of that one. The Coding Monkey is in the pits again, so he's obviously made his pit stop already, and he's in the pits again, so that has not gone at all well there for him. There's Lexi Mate. Oh, Lexi Mate, bit of a slide there through Ascari. Was trying to put the pressure on Spur Time, and has now lost out a bit of time here to him. So Lexi there's just got to try and get it together again, but Spur Time now's got a bit of a gap there in that battle for 14th and 15th places. Rusty Man's just dropped off of Nathan a little bit over the course of that lap. The gap's now a second and a half between these two. Exeron is gaining on Rusty Man as well, so that could be an interesting one to see. Joram is still on the back of Luke van der Streets as these two battling over 7th and 8th places. They've obviously got a considerable gap now over Robey, who's now nearly 2 seconds behind them, so he seems to be dropping off the pace of these two ever so slightly, as Joram's now really close on the back of Luke van der Streets coming into the De La Rocha chicane. Luke goes a little bit deep but gets it stopped, and Joram's still piling that pressure on down towards Lesmo 1 they come. Joram's going to have a look. No, he doesn't. He thinks better of it. He's just tucking it in for the time being, but Luke van der Streets and Joram still running pretty close, a 10th of a second between them at the moment, as also keeping an eye on the gap between Titan and Kev Sim, because it's down to 3/10 as they're coming through Ascari. Ascari. Kev Sim is almost underneath him here as they come out onto the back straight. He can now sniff a chance here of taking the lead of this race, although having said that, Titan once again with the straight line speed is able to just coast away from him a little bit here, coming down towards the Parabolica. Kev Sim tucks back in for the slipstream there, into the corner they come, but Titan here hanging on by a thread. Kev Sim's trying everything he can to put this pressure on, but Titan with that straight line speed, it's currently his get out of jail free card right now, and he's holding on to this lead by 0.3 of a second as Joram is coming ever closer here on the back of Luke van der Streets. And in fact, he's made the move, Joram has. So Joram is up into 7th place now and can now try and defend here, because Luke's trying to come back at him into Parabolica. Can Luke try and get the run here down the start finish straight and maybe come straight back at him here? These two both in the BMW, and obviously Joram will be down on straight line speed with that damage that he's got on the front end, so this could be Luke potentially looking for a position straight back here on Joram. So they're coming now down the start finish straight in towards turn 1, but Joram looks like he's got the legs here over Luke, and he's going to hold on for P7 for the time being. Gap at the front, 0.4 of a second. Titan went a little bit deep there coming through the Della Rosa chicane, held on though by the skin of his teeth. Kev Sim still trying to put it up him, still trying to look for a way through. Andrew still on the back of Guido Christ right now, as just under 0.7 of a second separating those two in 3rd and 4th places. Day 666 on the back of Tombaz as they're coming down the start finish straight, down towards the first chicane they go. Saw a bit of grass, saw a bit of dirt being kicked up there in the foreground. Was that Lexi mate or was it spur time? I don't know who it was. Tombaz and Day still battling. Oh, Day loses it a little bit there coming out of the first chicane. That would have lost him a bit of momentum there, and now gives Tombaz just a little bit of breathing space. Saying that, he hasn't made the most of it. He seems to have got out of it there, coming out of the corner. He's basically still got Day right up his chuff here, coming down towards the Della Rosa chicane, but Day's too far back. No, he's not. Oh, he's going to go for it here. Is he going to be able to make this one stick? Day with a fantastic speculative move there up the inside and makes the move on Tombaz up into 16th place. Day 666 with a very brave manoeuvre indeed there, and he's up into 16th place, but Titan still leading the race ahead of Kev. These two 0.3 apart. Andrew's still pressuring Guido for that final podium spot. The gaps between Joram and Luke is now over 1.5 seconds. Robe's trying to close in on Luke. He's now just under a second, just over a second, sorry, behind him. It was 1.5 seconds before. The gap between Rusty Man and Exeron is just over 2 seconds, so Rusty Man has responded to Exeron, but Nath is pulling away from Rusty Man at this point in P10. Tombaz is still trying to stick to the back of Day if he can. The Coding Monkey obviously looks like he's given up now. He doesn't look like he's going anywhere fast. He's been sat in the pits for a couple of laps now, so I don't think he's planning on getting going again, which is a massive shame obviously, because obviously it's his debut race here tonight. He'd have hoped that he could have got something done here, but unfortunately for him it wasn't to be. But Titan here is still leading the race by 0.3 of a second ahead of Kev Sim as they're coming into Lesmo 1. You've got Guido Chris there ahead of Andrew, followed by Capriya there in 5th place. Kangi's just a few seconds behind these guys in P6 at the moment, but this battle for the podium place is still very much on here between these three. Gap is still 0.3 between Titan and Kev Sim at the moment. In fact, has it gone up? No, these two are just coming up on some traffic actually, so that is a lap car, or a soon to be lap car should I say, who is just in the foreground there. Not sure who it is, I'm just trying to work it out. Is it MC? It is MC. So MC is going to have to watch out because he has got the leaders coming up on him just at the moment. So obviously Titan and Kev Sim will be hoping that he doesn't interfere with them. Obviously you don't have to let people through, but it's considered appropriate. I mean, you know, you don't want to make an enemy of yourself, that's for sure. You're not going to be doing yourself any favours if you start holding up the leaders, because you know, if you say for example you're not somebody who usually ends up a lap down and you start fighting the leaders, you know, it could, you know, what goes around comes around. They might not be inclined to do you a favour in the future, so it's good to try and make friends if you can, but currently the two leaders are coming up on MC nonetheless, but Titan and Kev 0.7 of a second separating the top two right now. You've got 18 of you currently watching the stream. This is absolutely awesome, guys. Great to see so many people watching the stream. Great to see so many drivers out on track tonight. We had 26 start the race. We've got 23 at the moment, so 3 retirements so far here tonight, but currently Titan and Kev Sim 0.7 of a second currently separating these two as they're coming into Della Rosa chicane once again. You've got Andrew there's just on the back of Guido Christ as they're coming down towards Stella chicane, but he's a little bit too far back just at the moment. You've got Capriglia there, just over a second behind those two at the moment. Kengi there running in 6th place, he's 4 seconds behind them. Robe there running by himself there in 7th place, he's 5 seconds ahead of Nath, who's in 8th. He's gapped Rusty Man by 2 seconds now. Joram, Luke van der Streeks and Exeron all in the pits here at the end of lap 13, so they're all coming in to get the pit stops done, kind of like I'd say the sort of like the earliest appropriate time if you're doing a half tank, because I'd say there's no point coming in before the 25-minute mark if you're running a half tank, because you're not going to make the most of your fresh tyres. But I think the way they're doing it right now, I think if they put fresh tyres on, they should still gain us a considerable advantage. That's what they're doing. I mean, they could be running a full tank, but saying that, if you're running a full tank, you're best off coming in at the end of the race or coming in later on. You might as well go long. You've got nothing to lose by going long if you're running a full tank, because you're not changing tyres, you're not messing around. It's, that's just how it is. But Kev Sim and Titan still your two leaders, 7/10 apart. They're 6 seconds clear of this battle for the podium places between Guido Christ, Andrew and Capriglia, still just bringing himself into this fight, just edging ever closer to the back of him at the moment. He's just creeping himself into contention at this stage. We've got a drive-through penalty for car number 6. That's Exeron there, who's got done for speeding in the pit lane, so that's a bit of a shame there for him, as we can see Exeron now coming out of the pits. You can see there he's just being passed around the outside there by, I think that was a number 11. That's Kangi there putting a lap on him, surely. Yeah, it was. But Exeron there, drive-through penalty for speeding in the pits, so his night goes a little bit worse there for him. But Kev Sim's in the lead. Kev Sim has taken the lead of the race. Incredible stuff here. Titan must have made a mistake, because he's now nearly 2 seconds behind him. The big development here, we have a new race leader. Kev Sim has been putting the pressure on Titan for the entirety of this race. He now has P1 and Titan down to P2 will be, I'm sure, wanting to get himself back onto the rhythm as quickly as he can. We don't know what the strategies are in terms of half tanking or full tanking at this point, but Kev Sim, now your race leader for this tier 2 for the GT3 championship here on the PlayStation 5 at Motive Racing. Kev Sim now leading by just under 2 seconds ahead of Titan. You've got Guido, Chris, Andrew and Capriglia. Now these three separated by a second, battling for the podium places. They've got about 3 or 4 seconds now, nearly 5 seconds actually to Kangi, who's running in P6. Robe there in 7th. Nath has actually been reeled in a little bit by Rusty Man over the last lap or so. Rusty Man's just gained a little bit of time on him over the course of the last lap or so. You got 8 seconds back to Jill Silverin. He's got 7 seconds back to Spur Time. Day 666 and Lexia battling over 12th place at the moment. Obviously these two still yet to pit. A few drivers have been in already. Luke van der Streeks, Exeron, Joram, Henry, those four have all been into the pits. Henry's come out a net 16 seconds behind Joram, so I reckon Henry will be somewhere between the lower mid pack by the time we get to the end of this race, if my perceptions of where everybody is correct. But Titan and Kangi both in the pits, so the early race leader, who was demoted to second place due to a little mistake, has come into the pits, so he's now off and on his way. He's already been in the box and he's now going. It looked like that was a very quick pit stop there for Titan, so I don't think he's put any, or he might have I don't know if he changed tyres, or I don't think he did. I think it looked like quite a quick pit stop there. I don't think he has changed tyres or done anything to the car. So I think he has literally just stopped and gone. Kangi's still in the box, so yeah, I'm pretty sure that Titan, that was a stop and go there for him. Kangi, I think, might actually be changing tyres, so he could have half tanked it, but that could be crucial here for Titan, because with Kev Sim obviously still out there right now, we don't know if Kev Sim has half tanked it or what he's done. So if Titan has obviously full tanked it, that could be a massive advantage if Kev Sim has half tanked it. But again, we'll just have to wait and see how it all pans out. It's still a long way to go and we just don't know. This is the great thing. This is the exciting thing about it, is that we just don't know what people are on, what strategies they're doing. The only way to find out is to wait and see what happens. That's the great thing about sim racing in general, is that it's so unpredictable. You just don't know what's going to happen from one moment to the next. In the meantime, we've got Spur Time, Leximate and Sparky Franchise all in the pits. Joram is back in the pits, so what's happened to Joram? I don't quite know what that's all about, but he's coming again, so something's gone a little bit wrong there for him. Not quite sure what though. As we see spur time coming to the end of the pit lane, he's come out ahead of Leximate. Leximate's still in the box in a moment. Sparky's still in the box as well. Andrew coming into the pits from P3, and obviously he's in a bit of a battle with a few of the other guys. Obviously Kangi sort of like not too far away off of that battle.
You're halfway through, not over yet.
But Andrew's main fight is with Capriglia, who's currently running in second place right now, a little way up the road. It's all just going to slot into place here. Guido Christ, Nath J. Fletch, Rusty Man now coming into the pits as well. So they're all sort of coming into the pits in this phase of the race. We see a lot of drivers pulling the trigger during this time. Joe, I'm there in the Discord server, just apologising for retiring from the race. Says that he's, I don't know what's happened really to him, but says he's like, sounds like he's just had a bit of a strategic error or something. I don't know. Oh, he didn't assign the pit menu, says Raki. Oh no, Joam, no. That's just unfortunately it's like a rookie error really. That's just one of those things when you're new to a game, these things do happen. Sparky Franchise in the meantime has picked up a stop go penalty, so that's going to be a frustrating one for him. He's going to obviously have to come back into the pits and do another stop, albeit this time not for fuel or tyres. It's just going to be to stop in the box and literally sit there for 30 seconds before going again. Fednad coming into the pits to make his mandatory pit stop, so that just leaves the top four: Kev Sim, Capriglia, Lucas Robe and Andrew. And obviously you got Jill Silver in, Day 666, Tumbaz, Diego and GPL. These guys obviously need to come into the pits at some point as well, but as and when they do it, it's very much up to them. But Kev Sim currently your race leader now. What is the situation here with his strategy? Because obviously we know he's in a battle with Titan for the race win, but Titan's got a bit of traffic here in the shape of Jill Silverin, which he'll be hoping to clear as soon as possible, because the longer he spends behind his traffic, the more it's going to dent his chances of keeping himself in that fight with Kev. As Robe and Andrew both coming into the pits at the end of lap 17. But yeah, Titan will be wanting to make short work of this traffic here. He's got Jill Silverin just in front of him. There's also a lapped car who's just ahead of them. But Titan just a little bit too far back to make the move on Jill at the moment. And this could be hurting his race. The more time he spends behind him, the more time he's going to be losing to his rival for this race win. Looks like Jill Silverin cut the De La Rocha chicane there. I'm not quite sure what he was doing there. In the meantime, Robe, Andrew and Tumbaz, well, Robe's done his pit stop, Andrew would have done it in a moment, Tumbaz still in the box. Looks like those guys have had quite long pit stops actually. As we see Andrew just off the jacks now, Tumbaz also about to come off the jacks. But Robe now back out onto the track. It's a long way behind Kangi is Robe. But the strategies could come into this. We could be seeing fresh tyres and lower fuel loads definitely having an influence on how this race ends up. Robe's come out behind Guido Christ. Tell you what though, Guido Christ was in the battle for the podium places earlier. What has happened to him through his pit window? I don't know what has gone on here. But he is nowhere to be seen now. About 30 seconds behind Kangi. Kev Sim's still your race leader. He's got 13 seconds back to Capriga, who is in that battle with Capriga. No, he's in that battle. Ah, stop it. He's in the battle with Kangi for the podium places. Andrew what's happened to Andrew, because Andrew was in that battle with Capriglia for the podium, so he is now nowhere. I don't quite know what's gone on there with Andrew, but he has had a nightmare of a pit window and he's down in 15th place. So Andrew, one of the big unfortunate drivers here in this pit window, he's down in 15th place having made his pit stop. Diego is in the pits in the meantime, but Andrew here losing out loads of places in this pit window. So we're down to 22 here in this race. Started with 26 obviously, as Diego is currently in the pits, so he's the latest driver to make his mandatory pit stop. 5 drivers now yet to still make their pit stop. That's Kev Sim, Capriglia, Jill Silverin, Day and GPL. Everybody else still yet to come in and observe that mandatory pit window, or mandatory pit stop should I say. No actual pit window. When I say pit window, I don't mean like literally there's a pit window, I mean as in like the sort of accepted time to come into the pits kind of thing, not the actual, there's no black and white rule as to when you have to come in. It's more just about when it makes sense to do so. When I say pit window, I mean the time at which it makes sense to do so, rather than an actual set time that people have to do it. But nonetheless, we see Jill Silverin coming into the pits, and Day 666 also in as well. Diego's now on his way out of the pits, so GPL still yet to come in. Kev Sim and Capriglia still yet to come in as well. But I think that Capriglia is going to have a bit of an easy run here to a podium place, because the 2 guys who he was battling with, obviously Andrew being his big rival for 3rd place, seems to have had an absolute nightmare in the pit stop phases. Kangi doesn't really seem like he's close enough to be a player in this either, so Capriglia should come out in acres of space in 3rd place. Day is still in the box, but we can see there so there's Guido Christ obviously, who was also in the battle for the 3rd place as well. I don't think he's going to come out anywhere near Capriglia. I mean, he's behind Kangi, and Kangi was a little way behind beforehand, so yeah, I don't know what's going on, but the strategy could be playing a part. We'll have to see over the final third of this race. But nonetheless, we see Capriglia into the pits here at the end of lap 20. Through the pits he comes and into his box. We've got still Kev Sim, your race leader now. The question is, has he done enough to get the jump on Titan, or rather to hold on to the position? Because Titan made a small mistake, didn't he? Just before he came into the pits to make his pit stop, he made a little mistake which gave Kev the lead. Kev had about a 2-second lead at the time that Titan came in. So has Titan done enough to get the jump on him and get the undercut and get back ahead of Kev, or is Kev going to come out in the lead? These questions and more will be answered over the next 20 minutes, but Capriglia is on his way out of the pits here. Titan isn't actually too far ahead of Capriglia here. Now where's Kangi? Kangi is coming down towards Parabolica, so yeah, I called it before. I said Capriglia is going to be coming out in some pretty substantial clean air, and he's come out well ahead of anybody else in the battle for the podium spots. There's Kangi coming out of Parabolica, Capriglia coming into turn 1. And yeah, Kangi nowhere to be seen. Guido Christ, Andrew, don't know what happened to them, but they've had absolute horror shows in the pit boxes, as we see GPL coming into the pits here at the end of lap 20. Kev Sim still out there, is the only driver now still yet to make a pit stop. He is the race leader, and he's trying to go as long as he can to try and keep Titan guessing here. So who is going to win the first race of the season for the Tier 2 Championship? As we've got Mario Fumingo there saying, "Go Motive, looking forward to joining you soon." That's Cod Lungo, isn't it, Mario? I'm sure it's Cod. Cod, welcome back. Good to see you, mate. Yeah, you're welcome to join the leagues again. I mean, we're going to be running Sunday nights mostly, but I'm hoping to get a Wednesday league started up and maybe a Saturday league as well. So yeah, if you fancy it, then definitely come along, return to the leagues. I am going to get those sign-up forms up soon. Probably start them a couple of weeks into the season, so if I get the sign-up forms up this week, I'll probably schedule them to start maybe in week 3, so there'll be 6-week championships instead of the 8-week championships that we've got from most of the series that we've got. But yeah, definitely hoping to get some more championships up. But yeah, God, if you fancy it, there are a couple of spaces still left in Tier 2, so definitely come along and get back involved in the leagues. we've got Titan here just putting a lap on a back marker there. And there he goes, comes through, no dramas, but Kev Sim still leading the race right now. Still has to come into the pits, but as and when he does it, up to him. So Kev Sim, your race leader, how long is his pit stop going to be? Is he going to be able to get the jump and come out ahead of Titan? He was a couple of seconds ahead of him before the pit window. Titan obviously came in and got his pit stop done and out of the way quite early on. Kev is going long here in this race. He's coming out of the Parabolica now. Now, does Kev pull the trigger this time? It looks like he is coming in. Yes, he is. So Kev Sim, end of lap 22, coming into the pits to make his pit stop. Just under 20 minutes left to go here in this race. Now, is he going to come out ahead of Titan? What sort of pit stop is it going to be for Kev? Is it going to be a quick stop and go, off you go? Or is it going to be a tyre change? What is he going to do? I can't imagine it's going to be a tyre change, because he'd have nothing to gain from doing a tyre change at this point. He's well into the race. I think he's just got to stop and go. He's just got to bolt. That's what he's got to do. He's just got to bolt at this point. He's still in the pit box right now. Is he going to go yet? It doesn't look like he's gone yet. Titan in the meantime coming down towards the Parabolica. Kev is still not moved, so Titan could be about to take the lead here. I think Titan is going to take the lead, but is Kev going to come out with fresh tyres? If he does, will he have enough time to hunt him down? Titan is coming over the start finish line and will take the lead of the race. Kev is still on the jacks, so Kev has not moved. He's now off the jacks. Titan though coming down towards turn 1 in the lead of the race. So Titan into turn 1. Kev is just about to come out of the pits. So Kev is now out of the pits. Titan is just coming through the curve of Grande. The gap, I reckon, is about 20 seconds between them, but Kev has just lost out to, I think, a back marker there as well, and they've gone straight on over the chicane. In fact, they've missed the chicane. The back marker there just going straight on. That's GPL there, but Kev Sim now, I think he's about 20 seconds behind Titan, and we're going to have probably about, I'd say maybe about 10 laps left in this race. So it's going to be touch and go. I mean, he's got fresh tyres on, which is going to be a massive advantage, but I don't know if he's going to be able to reel in 20 seconds. That could be a bit of a tall order. Maybe 15 seconds, but 20, I mean, that is going to be, it would be a hell of a job if he'd be able to reel that in at this point. But he's now come out behind Caprigia, but obviously Kev, with these fresh tyres, will have the pace advantage, so he should be able to get ahead of Caprigia. That gap's only 3.6 seconds, but is he going to be able to reel in the leader, or is Titan going to score the first win of this season here at Motive for the Tier 2s, for the GT3s on the PS5 on Assetto Corsa Competizione? And that is what we're going to find out over the next 17 minutes. Guys, I'm going to have to jump out for literally 2 minutes. I need to just go and sort something out. I'll be back in a second. But yeah, this race very much it's on ice at the moment, this one. did just have to quickly jump out for a moment, but we are back on now. Only a couple of minutes. I had to just quickly sort something out. But here we are then. So it looks as though Kev Sim's actually dropped back off of Titan a bit. Titan's extended his gap to 21 seconds. So I'm not sure if Kev did actually change tyres, because his pace advantage should be there, but it doesn't appear to be at this point. We got Morgan Crawford in the comments saying, I've raced on the channel before on PC2, but I want to know how I can get involved in these ACC races. Morgan, what's your PlayStation name? You can't be the guy who I think you are. Yeah, but anyway, you can join at www.motiveracing.com. If you're already on the Discord, then it's really easy. You just go to the channel at the top of the Discord and click join the leagues. It should be second from the top, and you can join any of the leagues on ACC, PC2 or F1 just by doing that. But yeah, definitely if you fancy it, then definitely sign up. I mean, we are kind of running short now on spaces in tier 2, I will say. I don't know what the situation is, if we can maybe start a third tier. I wouldn't do so for a couple of weeks. I want to make sure that we've got at least 20 additional sign-ups before even thinking about setting up a third tier. But you know, it could be something that we might be able to do mid-season if the interest is there. But I'd say definitely just sign up, put your name down, so that we've got the numbers, so then we know that we need to set up that third tier if need be. But yeah, I think tier 2 is basically maxed out at this point. We had 26 people race tonight. There were a couple of people who couldn't make it, so I think all in all, I think it's pretty much we've reached our capacity now at this stage. I don't know, I can't see us being able to accommodate anyone else at this point, but yeah, definitely sign up anyway. You can race as a reserve, you can be a reserve for the championship, no problem. Oh, hello PS5 GT3, says Ryan. Hello Ryan, Mr. Ryan Ruby, former champion for the GT3 category in our multi-class on the PlayStation 4 a few seasons back now. He's gone and ditched us, he's gone on to the PC recently, but yeah, good to see you, Ryan. Nice of you to make an appearance. I love Ryan. Was quite instrumental in bringing back our Project Cars 2 leagues back in the summer, so massively appreciate all the hard work that he did for Motive and commentating alongside myself for a season as well when his rig was broken. Good to see you in the comments there, mate. Welcome along. But I'm just noticing here on the timing screen that the gap between Capriglia and Kev Sim is coming down a little bit. It's now just over 3 seconds, so Kev Sim is just chipping away at that gap at this point. He's kind of bringing it down ever so slightly, but he is also bringing the gap down to Titan, but I think it's a bit too late for that one because he's, well, 20 seconds behind. His tyres are probably now just coming in for Kev, but the thing is, Titan, he's just got too much of a gap. We're going to have probably 6-7 laps at most until the end of the race now, so I don't think it's on the cards. I think Kev's best hope in this race is of being able to nick a second place off of Capriglia. I reckon that's going to be the summit of his expectations here. We can see a few drivers into the pits. Exeron's back in the pits again, so lots of pit stops going on late in this race. Obviously there's been a fair bit of damage and argy-bargy going on. It's been mostly cleaner, I have to say. It's been good racing, but there's been a few little incidents here and there which we don't want to be seeing, which have marred it again ever so slightly. Ryan there saying, when you finish would you be able to join a Discord to speak about stuff? Yeah, of course, mate. Yeah, well, it'll be a bit late. It'll be about 10 o'clock because the tier 1 starts at 8:30 and that will be finishing about 10. So but yeah, no, definitely I'll be up to jumping in a call. Rig's broken again, he says. Oh god. Nightmare. Kev Sim is only 2 seconds behind Capriglia. He gained about 1.5 seconds on Titan on that last lap. It's just a shame that he ended up so far behind, because what could have been, he could have really been close to Titan here at the end of this race and maybe put some pressure on him. I think he'd be lucky to get within 10 seconds of him at the end of this race though, if I'm honest with you. But yeah, it's currently Titan leading the race by 17.5 seconds ahead of Capriglia. Kev Sim is really in Capriglia at a rate of knots, and I'm sure we'll be fancying a P2 finish here in the first race of this Tier 2 season. Gaps between the rest of the pack just seems like it's a bit spread out right now, not too much going on at this stage. Looks like this battle for second place is probably the closest one out on track at this point. But yeah, this is looking to be an exciting finish here between these two. Capriglia only 1.6 now is gap to Kev Sim. You can see Kev is just continuing to chip away at that gap as they're now coming down the back straight towards the Parabolica again. But Capriglia's just got the legs, got that advantage at this point. Dan Tilliers in the comments saying, I had a shocker of a day. I'm guessing that's Dan92 there. Unlucky for you, mate. I didn't see what happened to you, but I know you were out quite early on. I saw that we lost a couple of drivers on the first lap, but I didn't. Obviously, I saw the incident that happened going into turn one. But yeah, I don't know exactly what your involvement in that was, but it didn't look to be very pretty. But right now we can see Kev's got the gap down to 1.3 seconds to Capriglia, so he's continuing to really chip away. Not just chip away, he's making massive gains at this point, and could be on the verge of taking this position in the next couple of laps maybe. So here we are then, Capriglia and Kev Sim coming down the back straight once again, just under a second separating these two. So they're coming down towards the Parabolica. Sim just looks a little bit closer now than he has been in the recent laps. He got it under a second. He just looks to be within striking distance. I think that in a lap or two's time he'll definitely be looking to try and send one up the inside of Capriglia. I think that the fresher tyres are now really starting to make a difference and are starting to pay dividends here for Kev Sim. Henry is on the back of Tumbas as well. Look at that gap, only 4 tenths as they're coming into Lesmo 2. Henry's going to be looking to make this move pretty soon, I would imagine. If he can get a good run out of Lesmo 2 down this long straight towards Ascari, he might be able to go for a move. Tumbas has just got the legs. Here goes Henry. I tell you what, he's alongside. He's going to look down the inside. Here we go. Henry making the move up into 14th place. Routine stuff there from Henry. No dramas at all. He's up a position, and Tumbas couldn't really do too much about that. And Henry there gaining the place. But I tell you what, Tumbas has got a good run coming out of Ascari here. Might fancy taking a position straight back off of him here. They're side by side in towards the Parabolica, but the Audi has just got the straight line speed a little bit over the Porsche, and Henry's able to complete the move into the Parabolica, keeping it around the outside, had more momentum, and Henry there holding on to 14th. Can he get a good run out of Parabolica and keep onto this position down the start finish straight? I tell you what, Tumbas is still in the slipstream here, and he's not giving up on this one. Over the line they come here. I think Henry should be just about alright, unless Tumbas is going to go very brave on the brakes, but I don't think he's going to be able to. That's job done there for Henry, I reckon, up into 14th place, as Kev Sim is into the pits. So what has happened here? Has he run out of fuel? Must have run out of fuel. I can't think of any other reason why he's coming into the pits at this point. It must be fuel related here for Kev. He's coming in. Well, he was in a battle for second place with Capriglia. He must have not put enough fuel in the car. That's the only thing I can imagine. So that is going to promote Kangi up into third place. Jill Silverin will gain a position. Guido Christ will move up from 6th to 5th. Robe will move up from 7th to 6th. Can Kev get out ahead of Rusty Man? That's the question. In fact, Kev's actually already on his way out. So he might actually come out ahead of Guido and Robe here. You know what? He's not done too badly here, actually. All things said. He might just lose out to Jill Silverin, who moves up into 4th. But Kev's only dropped down to 5th place here. So it could have been a lot worse there, if I'm honest with you. And yeah, Kev there, 5th place. So it's not all doom and gloom. He's come out well clear of Guido and Robe, so he's actually all right here, Kev. He might still be able to get back onto the into 4th place potentially, but he's 25 seconds off of the podium places in Kangi. But P4 could be a definite possibility here for Kev, despite having to come in for a late pit stop due to short fuel. As we see Luke van der Street's into the pits at the end of lap 30. So I don't know what's going on here with him either. Lots of drivers, I think, misjudging the fuel or getting damage or something. It doesn't look like he's got any damage, so must be fuel related there for Luke van der Street. In the meantime, Kev Sim is looking to the inside here on Jill Silver and in towards Ascari side by side. Can Jill hold it around the outside? Kev up the inside. He's going to make the move there, and he's done it brilliantly there as Kev Sim up into 4th. Gets a bit of a slide. Oh no, and he's ruined it. He pins it into the wall on the exit of Ascari, and Jill Silver is able to continue on his way, and Kev looked like he'd salvaged something from a disappointing situation, but he's now lost out more places here. Guido Christ up into 5th. Robe and Rusty Man. Well, Robe has also moved up a position into 6th place. Kev down to P6. Kev down to P7, should I say. So he's lost out another 3 places here. 5 places lost all told in the final few laps of this race. And Kev's got damage as well, so how's that going to affect him in these last couple of laps? He's got a big gap back to Rusty Man, so is he going to be able to limp round and hold on to 7th place, or is Rusty Man going to pick him off in the closing stages? Kev Sim, though, having an absolute torrid time of it here at the end of this race. I'll tell you what, he's going to have to drive round 3 more laps at least of this race. Possibly 4 more laps, because Titan has still got 3 more laps to... No, he's got 2 more laps to go. So Titan is just about to start his penultimate lap of the race. So Kev's got to drive around pretty much 3 laps of this Monza circuit with some quite serious damage. And that's going to be extremely frustrating there for him. Dan saying that's unlucky for Kev Sim. He looked really good. Tombaz's not making a move like the Alpine did today in the virtual 24, says Ryan. Ryan's been watching the virtual 24 hours of Le Mans by the sound of it. He also said take it easy for the first few laps. Once it clears up a bit, up a bit, start to make battles and gain places. That's definitely the strategy I think I would do. Yeah. But right now we've got Titan Guto nonetheless leading the race. He's got a lap and a half left to go here for this opening round of the season. He's got a big gap back to Capriglia. He was obviously in a battle with Kev Sim in the early stages of the race, but I think the strategy definitely was better played by Titan. Kev with big damage on the front end of the car. What's his gap to Rusty Man? It was 10 seconds at the start of this lap. It's now 6.5 seconds. So the gap's coming down at quite a rate here between Kev and Rusty Man. This could be quite close by the time we get to the end of this race. I'll tell you what, it could be touch and go here for Kev as to whether he's going to hold on to P7. Where's Rusty? Rusty there coming into Parabolica now. So obviously they started this lap, the gap was 10 seconds. If Kev can keep it above 5 seconds, that means it would be a 5-second time loss on that lap, which would mean that he might just about limp over the line ahead of Rusty Man. It's going to be close though. Oh, it's 4 seconds between Kev and Rusty, so Rusty might be able to nab Kev here at the end of this lap, right at the end of the race. It's going to be a tight battle for 7th. Also, Robe's on the back of Guido Christ as well in a battle for 5th. There's plenty to watch here, but Titan is about to start the final lap of the race here. So in fact,
Leaders on final
these
lap.
guys have technically got the best part of 2 laps to go, which is going to give Rusty Man more of an opportunity here to possibly pick Kev off here. The gap's down to 2 seconds. I think this is a formality. I think Rusty Man's got this. Kev might even lose out to Andrew. Andrew's only 6 seconds behind him, so he could lose out to Andrew at this point. Kev might not even finish in 8th at this point. He's definitely going to be picked off by Rusty Man. Rusty Man's just coming up to him now. This is going to be easy pickings here for Rusty Man, I'll tell you that. Oh, what's going on here? Oh, it's just a bit of lag. Yeah, Robe's still on the back of Guido Christ as these two coming out of Ascari. Can Robe get a run here in towards the Parabolica? He's got the slipstream. Now he pulls out to the outside here, Robe. Can he get it all the way around the outside here of Guido Christ as he's looking around the outside into Parabolica? Guido Christ with the inside, Robe trying to get it around the long way. Guido Christ holds that inside line for the time being. Robe's going to go for the switchback. They can't do it. Guido Christ got a good enough exit, got good traction out of the Parabolica. Rusty Man still with has just got ahead of Kev Sim, so Kev Sim's now down to 8th place, and Andrew is not far off of him at all either, so Andrew will look to try and get onto Kev on this final lap of the race. What's the gap between them? Oh, and Rusty Man has just done him though, and Andrew's now got to watch out because he's got to attack on Kev Sim. Kev Sim is the one who's got to watch out because Andrew's looking to the inside here, and Andrew's going to breeze past him down the start finish straight like he's not even there. Kev Sim down to 9th place. A disappointing final few laps to this race after he was in the battle for second, but I imagine a fuel issue forced him to come into the pits, and then after he came into the pits he was trying to make up for lost time and ended up binning it. But Titan Guto nonetheless is coming over the line, and he's going to take the first win of the season here at Monza for Season 3 in Tier 2 here for the GT3 Championship. Titan Guto with a fantastic performance. Caprigia will take home P2 with a very, very well played strategy indeed there. So a nice job for him in the Lamborghini. Kangi is coming into the final corner of the Parabolica, and it's going to be the final podium spot here for him. 3rd place for Kangi as he comes out onto the start finish straight once again, and up towards the line he comes. P3 here for Kangi. He is 30 seconds ahead of Jill Silverin. Henry, Day and Tumbaz have all finished the race as they now back into the pits. Fednad also into the pits. GPL's finished the race as well, as Jill Silverin's coming into the final corner. Luke van der Street's coming over the line to take P16 here in this race. Jill Silverin's coming out of the Parabolica now to come home in 4th place. So Jill Silver in P4, good result there. Guido Christ, good points. P5 is just going to hold off Robe here. Good battle between those two. Guido Christ 5th, Robe 6th. Rusty Man coming under pressure here from Andrew at the end of the race. Rusty Man a bit wide out of Parabolica. Is he going to hold on? Oh, I tell you what, Andrew with a great one out of Parabolica, and he's mugged him at the end there. Andrew up into 7th place. Great little fight between those two at the end. Andrew 7th, Rusty Man comes over in 8th place. Kev Sim holds on for 9th, just about. In fact, no, he didn't just about hold on. That wasn't Spur Time who was right behind him. That was a back marker. So Kev Sim 9th in the end after a disappointing end to the race. Spur Time in 10th. Sparky Franchise finishes classified in 17th place. Diego, the last driver to cross the line, in 18th place. And that is your lot here for tonight, ladies and gentlemen, for the Tier 2s. But stay tuned because we have got the Tier 1 Championship coming up very shortly after this, so don't go anywhere because we're going to have some more action here. The creme de la creme, the main event of the evening after this. But Titan Guto taking the first win for the Tier 2s for the GT3 Championship here in Motive on Assetto Corsa Competizione on the PlayStation 5 platform. Titan, Caprigia and Kangi, your podium finishers. And guys, stay tuned because we'll be back very, very shortly with Tier 1.
thank God that the brothers on the rise now. Endless celebrations all in my house. Levitating now, I'm super duper fly now. London boy, but DC where I reside now. Put the time in while you always yelling time out. And to quit it, cause I know I'm coming with it. You were sitting, you were wishing I was handling my business. Now I got the ball like Harry Potter playing Quidditch. And my business is humongous, you would think that happens in there. Damn man, I'm all that, yeah I'm all that. Working for that whip, yeah that what you call that. I'ma blow up in the summer, have them yelling fall back. And I've always been ahead like an effing ball cap. Man, I came in the game like whoa. Got a couple chains on me cause I like gold. They told me I'm the best and I told them I know. Cause when I'm in your town, every ticket I sold. Yeah, they saying I'm the man. Facts bro, lot of haters, tell me where they at though. I'm the new pop, all I do is rap though. Want me on your song, throw a couple stats, yo. Woo! Everybody wanna do the same thing, yup. That's why we ain't on the same page. Do my own thing and I maintain. Flow like water, so I'm going mainstream. I'm going mainstream. Flow like water, so I'm going mainstream. Yeah, I'm going mainstream. Flow like water, so I'm going mainstream. I'm going mainstream. Mainstream. Flow like water, so I'm going mainstream. Yeah. I'm going mainstream. Damn. Flow like water, so I'm going mainstream. Woo. I'm going mainstream. Flow like water, so I'm going mainstream. They saying I'm the man. Facts, bro. Lot of haters, tell me where they at. I'm the new pop, all I do is rap though. Want me on your song, throw a couple stats, yo. Everybody wanna do the same thing. That's why we ain't on the same page. Do my own thing and I maintain. Flow like water, so I'm going mainstream. I'm going mainstream. Flow like water, so I'm going mainstream. Yeah, I'm going mainstream. Flow like water, so I'm going mainstream. I'm going mainstream. Mainstream. Flow like water, so I'm going mainstream.
Messing with my head again. You had your heart set on me, but these feels they come and go, and they come so easily. Tell me what it is about you that I can't forget, but you're breaking down
everybody, we're here after a short break for the Tier 1 Championship here at Motive for the PlayStation 5 GT3 Season 3, and we're still at Monza. Obviously we were here a few moments ago for the first race of the night, the Tier 2s. This is the creme de la creme. These are the guys who are going to fight it out for the Motive Racing GT3 Championship. We've got 24 drivers out here tonight for this one. We had 26 I believe for the first race, so 50 drivers racing in the leagues across the course of tonight. What an awesome turnout that is, guys, for our first week, for our first event of the year 2023, and hopefully we can start as we mean to go on. But absolutely great stuff here, and I'm really delighted to see so many drivers signing up for the league, so many turning out for the first week, and yeah, let's continue this momentum, and long may it continue. But we've got all the drivers, I think, out on the track, barring High Grade and Jamie at this point. So obviously all of these drivers are returning drivers. No new drivers, I think, aside from R. Lamper and Mary Louise. These two stood out to me because I did a pre-season time trial, so that new drivers who were very, very good could get a pass into Tier 1 without having to basically trounce the drivers in Tier 2. So I thought to myself, well, it's going to be a bit unfair on the Tier 2 drivers if you've got some absolutely ridiculously quick guys in their midst. So Mary Louise and R. Lamper, those two got fast tracks up into Tier 1, and here they are out on track tonight. So it'd be interesting to see how those guys fit in with everybody else. But we've got Jazzman here tonight, who's back once again as a permanent regular driver after being a reserve last season, and he is obviously a former champion of the PS5 GT3 Championship here at Motive. The reigning champion PS Fid's unfortunately not here tonight and won't be here next week either. He misses the first 2 rounds of the season, but after that we expect that he'll be here for the rest of the season. So obviously a shame that he won't be around for the first couple of races of this season, but we're looking forward to having him back on the grid. He most likely won't be able to defend his title missing 2 rounds, especially with guys like Jazzman and Tynus in the house as well, who battled Jazzman for that first season title that Jazzman took. It's going to be once again a rematch between those two. We're looking forward to seeing how that pans out, but there's also plenty of other drivers out there tonight, including Max Power, Mary Louise, R. Lamper. MVGT was very quick on Wednesday night in our social race that we did at this track, so you know he's got the credentials. There's plenty of drivers out here who are definitely going to have a good chance of fighting for the victories and fighting for podiums. So yeah, all I can say is I am looking forward to this a treat. I really can't wait to see how this all unfolds. But right now we have got Jazzman setting the pace on a 1 minute 48.4. Those times though are going to tumble down. We saw Jazzman and MVGT in the 47s in practice a few moments ago. So there is a lot to be desired. There is a lot of change. There is certainly room for improvement for all of these drivers, but how's it all going to pan out? Who's going to take the first pole of this season? Who's going to take the first win of the season? So many questions, and it's all going to be answered over the course of the next hour and a half here on the Motive Racing YouTube channel. I want to say a big welcome to everybody who's tuned in so far. To those of you who have stayed with us from the Tier 2s, obviously thank you for staying with us. For those of you who were racing in Tier 2, if you quickly jumped onto the stream to check out the Tier 1s, obviously thank you for being with us for the Tier 2s. What a race we had. It was an exciting race from start to finish, and if you guys are watching right now or seeing the Tier 1s, you think you might be able to take on these guys? Well, first of all, you've got to make sure you finish in the top 5 in the Tier 2s, but if you're able to do that, you will get your chance to compete with these guys out on track right now. The time's not very representative at the moment because the tyres haven't really warmed up just yet, but I'm sure we'll be seeing them tumble down over the course of this session. But Jazzman currently leading the session right now, obviously the champion from 2 seasons ago for the PlayStation 5. Tynus in the house took him all the way to the final race in that first ever season that we had on the PlayStation 5, so it's going to be exciting to see those two. Luca, a driver who could be definitely up there in the mix. Ludo looks pretty quick tonight. R. Lamper we saw was quick on Wednesday as well in the social race. There's so many drivers who could be in with a shout here this season. And yeah, I'm just excited. I'm just stoked. We've got 20 of you currently watching the stream. Smash the like button, guys, if you haven't already. Let's see if we can get this stream to 20 likes. If we can, that would be absolutely amazing. Can we do it? Can we do it? Is it possible? I'm sure we can do it, guys. But MVGT and Ludo in the pits nonetheless at the moment. Jazzman has just dipped into the 147, so that's a blisteringly quick time there from Jazzman. And the tyre's probably still not fully up to temperature just yet. It's a cold track. It's only 23 degrees. It's only 16 degrees air temperature, so it's not particularly sizzlingly hot out on track here. It's probably about 70, 75 Fahrenheit, something around that region. So yeah, it's not particularly hot. The purchase that they're getting off for the service isn't going to be 100% exactly what they want it to be. But they are just slowly getting into a groove here as we're almost halfway through this qualifying session already. So it's gone pretty quickly so far. But currently we've got 13 likes on the stream. Guys, keep them likes coming in. Let's get the stream to 20 likes if we can before we get off air. How awesome would that be if we can do that? But currently Jazzman on his way out of the pits right now, as we've got quite a lot of drivers here in a short space. It's quite a congested circuit. You can actually benefit a little bit. Monza's one of those tracks where, strangely enough, you can benefit from being close to other drivers because the slipstream plays a huge part. It's mainly a straight line speed orientated track, so if you're within sort of a second of somebody in front of you, you can gain a bit of an advantage. It's only when that gap comes down to sort of under half a second, that's when you start to lose front end grip and maybe even start to find yourself stuck behind somebody and getting held up. So it's about finding that happy medium where you can just sort of stand off of somebody far enough to gain an advantage but not get too close. Oh, it's Spuz into the wall coming out of Ascari, and we've got a bit of a yellow flag situation here as he's now beached on the side of the track, but Spuz there pushing it a little bit too hard, and I'm sure he'll be bringing it into the pits and getting that damage fixed, but it's not gone well for him there. Max Power is currently in second. He's just under 4 tenths behind Jazzman in his qualifying leaderboard right now. MVGT sat in third, but we've seen he's able to get into the 47s. We've seen him practice over the course of this week. He's been consistently in the 147s. What is he able to do here? He comes over the line. He stays in third for the time being on a 48.5. But yeah, as I said earlier, there's a lot to be desired, and we know that he's got it in him. We know he's got it in his locker. It's whether or not he can actually do it when it matters. Ludo is currently still fourth. Luca is just coming through what looks to be the Curve Grande at this point. You've got Lampa currently in sixth. Nicola Barani not doing too bad of a job right now, sat in seventh place. He's the son actually of Luca Anti, who was racing with us in a social race on Wednesday. I only found that out the other day, that they're actually father and son. Nico is the younger of the two, obviously that's the son, and Luca the dad. But yeah, interesting. There's quite a few father-son partnerships actually here at Motive. You've got Raki and Jelram. Obviously Jelram was racing in tier 2 earlier this evening. Yeah, you've also got Luca and Nico as well. There's a few. There's a few father-son lineups that we've seen. We obviously saw, I remember Sebas Stefano and Edson Stefano back when we started the Project Cast 2 League. So there's been a few over the years, to say the least. But currently we're seeing Jazzman right now still sat at the top of this leaderboard. Max Power is just coming into the Parabolica. Can he shave a few tenths of a second off and put himself top of this leaderboard as he now comes out onto the start-finish straight here? Here he comes up towards the line. What can Max Power do as he crosses over the line, stays in second, doesn't improve his time at the moment? MVGT is just coming down the back straight, down towards the Parabolica. What can he put on the board as he comes onto the brakes? Gets it through the Parabolica, gets it nice and clean as he's onto the power and out onto the start-finish straight. Gets it nicely turned in, doesn't go too wide. You don't want to get too much onto that Astro, it really can cost you time. Over the line comes MVGT, stays in third place for the time being. Ludo coming out onto the start-finish straight. What can he put on the board here? He crosses over the line and stays in fourth. And Luca's currently coming through the Curve Grande. He's sat in P5 at the moment. Tom Quarantine's in the pits, so is Johnny Renwick, so is Glenn GT. So plenty of drivers into the pits right now. So they're obviously not going to improve whilst in the pits. The best thing is to be out there in a position where you can actually improve yourself, where you can really achieve the maximum performance, and obviously you're not going to do that while sat in the pits. I mean, that goes without saying. But Currently we've got Luca coming through Lesmo 1, you've got Arlampa who's just coming out of Ascari at the moment. Yeah, plenty of drivers out there on the track right now. Jazzman, the only driver still in the 147s. But yeah, sort of coming towards the business end of the qualifying session right now here for the Tier 1s here in Motive. And still Jazzman with nearly 0.4 of a second of a gap here to Max Power. We haven't seen the true potential of MVGT just yet. What we've seen obviously in the practice over the course of the week, he's managed to dip into the 147s. He posted a hot lap video of him getting into the 147s, but so far hasn't been able to do so in this quali session. He will have this lap and he'll have a couple more after this one to maybe try and improve. But here he comes down the back straight towards the Parabolica once again. Onto the brakes he comes, gets it nicely turned in. Onto the power out of the Parabolica he goes. Luca's moved up into 3rd place, so solid lap there from Luca. Decent lap time there from him. Here comes MVGT over the line. He goes into 3rd place, so he pushes Luca down by 0.02 of a second. There was the gap between those two, so nothing really separating them at all. So yeah, it's very, very close. Still Jazzman currently setting the pace. Can he improve his time? We saw a 47.7 in practice. Doesn't do it this time though. Stays on a 47.9 for the time being. MVGT's, he's got to be the one though. I think he's got to be the favourite to take this challenge to Jazzman in this qualifying session. 20 of you currently watching the stream, guys, smash the like button if you can. I said before, I'll say it again, can we get this stream to 20 likes? Come on, we can do it, we can do it. A little bit of a push. If we just drop that like button, we can get 20 likes on this stream before we finish tonight. I said before, that would be absolutely epic if we can do that. Watching MVGT coming through Ascari, he's just over a half second adrift of Jazzman's provisional pole time. Can MVGT knock that half a second and a bit more off of his time? He's got a bit of slipstream here coming down towards the Parabolica now. Is he going to be able to utilise that without getting held up? No, in fact the driver who it was moves well out of the way. So here comes MVGT out of the Parabolica. Now what is he going to be able to do? Can he take a bit more time off of his 48.5? He does, drops it down to a 48.3, but he's still 0.4 adrift of Jazzman. So he's still got work to do. At this point, 22 people watching the stream. This is incredible, guys. This is unbelievable. Absolute privilege to have everybody on the stream here tonight. 3 people currently in the pits are Lampa, Tom Quarantine and Carmissar. Carmissar actually the same person as Corday, funnily enough. Driving, I believe, actually is in the same same number as MVGT, I think, but obviously can't take that number 909, so he's had to settle with the 910. But yeah, Carmissar, formerly Corday, now obviously has changed his name. Don't know why, but yeah, that's his new name. As we see, Max Power has actually improved his time. Oh, and Tynus has just gone up into 2nd, but he doesn't stay out for another lap, so his fuel must have been absolutely down to the minimum. Tynus in the house though, gets within 0.2 of Jazzman. Jazzman has actually improved his time whilst we've been watching everybody else. So Jazzman has gone down to a 47.8. What can MVGT do? What kind of lap is he on? Is he on a lap that's good enough to put himself on the front row, maybe even on pole position? He needs to find just over half a second. Max Power is also on a lap and he'll be the first to cross the line out of these two as he's coming out of the Parabolica. No, he's given up, so and Max Power's now done, so that's his session over. Then MVGT's bit of a wiggle as he came through Parabolica. Did that compromise his run, or did he manage to get a good run anyway? No, he's given up. MVGT's done, so he's bailed, so that's his session now over. Lucas finished the session in 6th, Arlampa 7th. What about Ludo? Can Ludo get a little bit closer to the pole time here, but set by Jazzman? Or has he given up? I think he has. Ludo's pulled over. So Ludo is done as well. So that is his session now over. So it looks to me like it is going to be Jazzman on pole position, unless somebody from somewhere can pull out an absolute worldie. Oh, awesome gumball into the wall. So he's had a bit of a moment there. High grade P13, he's done. His session's over. Scooter Paul over the line here. 22nd for him. He hasn't managed to improve there at the end. Glenn will start at the back. GT Jamie has actually not set a lap yet, so he will be coming around. No, that's it. No, he's in the wall. He's done. So Jamie's not going to improve here. So I think that is going to be that then, by the looks of it. And it's going to be Jazzman and Tynus in the house on the front row. These two who fought out the championship a couple of seasons ago here in the PS5 GT3s will start on the front row. 0.2 of a second separating them. Max Power, MVGT, Ludo and Luca not too far away. Arlampa within a second of the pole time. A second separating the top 8. 1.3 seconds covering, or 1.5 seconds covering the top 14 drivers. So there's not much separating the guys here tonight. There's 3 seconds covering the top 21 drivers. Scooter Paul a little way off. You've got Glenn GT, a funny looking guy, obviously not racing. GT Jamie didn't get a lap in either, so yeah, bit of a unfortunate situation there for him. But it is Jazzman ahead of Tynus, Max Power and MVGT on the second row. This is going to be a cracker of a race here, guys. I'm looking forward to seeing how this one pans out. We've got 2 minutes to go until the start of this race. And whilst we're here, guys, I wanted to ask anybody who's watching right now, please to smash the like button, as it helps us out enormously. I don't think you guys realise how much it helps us out. Every single like, every single comment, every single subscription, it means the absolute world to us. Guys, if you can take a moment just to drop a like on this video, if we can get it to 20 likes before we get off air, that would be absolutely amazing. So we've got plenty of comments here coming in tonight. We've got Glenn saying nice work, spur time in tier 2, obviously. Spur time is saying thank you for the good luck at the start, pal. Glenn GT, no worries, spur time. Now it's my turn to suffer on track with the super fast lads. I'll be watching, says spur time. Gained 12 places, yeah, so which he was pretty happy with. We've got spur time there saying good luck, pal, to Glenn. So much fun, my god, says Luke Van der Streets. Geez, they're doing 47s in tier 1. Mate, Jazzman has been doing 47s since the PS4 days, and I've seen MVGT doing 47s as well, but he couldn't do it in that qualifying session just there. But yep, Jazzman in the 47s, Tynus 48 dead, Max Power, MVGT, Ludo, Luca all in the low 48s. Everybody down to, I think Arlampa would have been, oh no, everybody down to Luca, the top 6 would have all been on pole in a tier 2 race. I think Arlampa would have been close, but not quite. So yeah, the top 6 all would have been on pole if they had been racing in tier 2. But here we go. We are just on the 20 seconds left to go until the start of this little sort of run around the parabolica, where they'll be at formation speed, and then after that we'll be officially underway for the tier 1 championship for the PlayStation 5 GT3 League here at Motive Racing. What a night we've had so far with the tier 2s. We have now got the main event as we're about to get underway. Yes, here we are. We're coming out of the parabolica now. So it's Jazzman, Tynus in the house, Max Power, MVGT, Ludo is in the pits. So it looks like he's failed to ready up at the start of this race, so he will have to do this one certainly the hard way here. Then we're about to get underway. The former PS5 champion here, Jazzman, he is a 4-time champion here at Motive in various different divisions on ACC. He gets us underway, and Tynus there alongside him gets a decent start as he now tucks into the slipstream here. Tynus will be looking to try and get a bit of a drag here, coming down towards the first chicane. He looks to the outside. Jazzman's got the lead though, and held on to there coming into the corner. In the background there, you got Max Power ahead of MVGT, ahead of Luca, followed by Arlampa as they all file for the first chicane. Somebody's a little bit wide there. That looked as though it was Spuzz there, getting almost onto the gravel, but we're very clean there through turn 1, and that tier 2 is how you do it. That is an ultra clean start there from the tier 1 guys. Absolutely brilliant stuff, as we can see Ludo coming out of the pits there, but Jazzman leads us down through the Curva Grande, down towards the Della Rocha chicane. Tynus ahead of MVGT, followed by Luca in 4th ahead of Max Power. Nicola Barani up into 6th ahead of Arlampa, followed by Caterpillar, as in, somebody's wide there in the background there. That was the number 16 of Luca there, running wide out of the Della Rocha chicane, and he might lose out here. He's got a few drivers queuing up behind him right now, as that's Nicola ahead of Arlampa. Somebody running a little bit wide. We've got almost 3 wide there coming to Lesmo too, as we've got side-by-side action there. Somebody's going up the inside. I think that was an Audi there, making a move. Jazzman though leading the race ahead of Tynus in the house, half a second separating the 2 leaders. MVGT ahead of Luca, followed by Max Power. You've got Nico Barani there in 6th place ahead of Arlampa, as Arlampa and Caterpillar side by side in towards Ascari. And who's going to come out on top in this one? Caterpillar there moves ahead. In fact, Arlampa there is going to potentially lose out here. Arlampa, he gets involved in a little collision. Arlampa into the wall on the exit of Ascari. He's going to have damage on the front of the car as he gets it spun round again, but he's going to be down to the back of the pack. And Arlampa there, not with a start he would have needed at all. He's dropped back down to, I think, 22nd place behind Glenn GT. So Arlampa there with a nightmare of a first lap. He was obviously prominent there in the qualifying session in the top 10. Jazzman leading the race by 0.8 of a second right now ahead of Tynus. You've got MVGT running there in 3rd place, keeping tabs of these guys right now. Lucas just ahead of Caterpillar. Caterpillar's trying to defend here from Nico coming down towards turn 1. You've got Spuzz there ahead of Awesome Gumball, followed by Low 3000. You've got Johnny Renwick there. He's looking to the inside there. Oh my goodness, there's somebody in the foreground there getting it all wrong coming into turn 1. Wow, incredible. That's the number 12 there of Tom Quarantine there, going over the sleeping policeman coming through turn 1. And there's another car there that's very slow as well. Matev there seems to have lost momentum coming out of turn 1. He's now lost a few places here. You can see he's coming under pressure from Tom. In fact, no, Tom, sorry, is coming under pressure here from Commissar. Commissar on the back of Tom coming into the Della Rocha chicane. But Matev's lost a few positions down to 13th place. And looking down the order also, Arlampa into the pits at the end of the first lap to get that damage fixed. As we've got side by side here, Matev looking back to the inside of Commissar into Lesmo 1, but nothing doing at the moment. Commissar keeping onto that one for the time being. Nico Barani is on the back of Caterpillar as they're coming down underneath the old circuit. You can see Nico trying to get on terms with him if he can for P6 in this race. The 3 leaders, Jazzman, Tynuson and MVGT. The 2 leaders, Jazzman and Tynuson, have just pulled out a bit of a gap here to MVGT over the course of this lap so far. Caterpillar is trying to put the pressure on Luca as they're coming through Ascari. Nico is right on the back of Caterpillar as well, so that's a 3-way battle there for 5th place, should I say. Tom Quarantine is right on the back of Johnny as they're coming out of Ascari as well, so he'll be fancying a move potentially for P10. Matev is all over the back of Commissar here as they're coming down the back straight, as Johnny looks like he's got a bit of a poor run here. In fact, no, it wasn't Johnny, it was Commissar who got the poor run. And Matev and High Grade side by side here coming into the Parabolica. Matev keeping it around the outside there ahead of High Grade there, a bit wide there coming out of the Parabolica. Mary Louise right behind them ahead of Lowell 3000, followed by Brando. There's Yellow Army ahead of Scudero Paul, followed by Glen GT. Epiphany running in 21st place. Ludo down to 22nd place after a bit of a oversight him starting from the pits. Arlampa and GT Jamie have both been into the pits already in this race, but they are well off at the back of the pack right now. Jazzman leads by just over a second ahead of Tynus, followed by MVGT. Max Power just dropping off of these guys a little bit there in 4th place at this point. But currently Caterpillars just trying to weather this storm from Nico Barani. You can see that they've just gapped each other a little bit here. You've got Caterpillars a little bit further ahead of Nico, but Caterpillars lost time to Luca as well. Tom Quarantine's got pressure from Johnny still as they're coming into Lesmo 1. You've got Commissar ahead of Matev, followed by Lol 3000. Oh, Mary Louise! What's happened to Mary Louise? He's had a spin there, I think, coming through Della Rocha chicane. He's lost a few places there, I have to say. Oh, Brando here is right in the thick of a battle right now. You can see he's just ahead of Yellow Army and Scuderia Paul. Wow, this is incredible. So Brando here he's dropped behind Scuderia Paul and Epiphany as they're coming down towards Ascari here. So that's Scooter Paul up into P15, Epiphany there ahead of Brando. Yellow Army trying to pressure Brando as they come into Ascari. You got High Grade now dropping behind these guys with big damage as well. So High Grade has had an incident. I'm not quite sure what has happened to him, but he has dropped a few places there. Glenn GT right on the back of them as well. Mary Louise is now well off at them in 21st place with that mistake that we saw through the De La Rocha chicane. But Yellow Army on the back of Brando, with Brando who's right behind Scooter Paul and Epiphany at the moment. But Scooter Paul is the big winner in the early stage of this race. He's made a load of places up into 15th place. Awesome Gumball's made a mistake. He's got big damage there on that car. That BMW looks absolutely battered as he has had a bit of an incident. I'm not sure who it was with, but Awesome Gumball there dropping down to 21st place as he comes through Parabolica. Commissar coming into the pits for a very early pit stop, so I can't imagine that he's what's it called? I can't imagine that he's put can't imagine that he's half tanked it. He's probably got a full tank in and he's doing just the stop and go, but he's coming in very early in this race. The gap at the front between Jazzman and Tynus, a second and a half. You've got MVGT just keeping them on the same page at the moment, keeping tabs with them, not allowing them to run off completely. Max Power ahead of Luca, followed by Counterpillar who completes the top 6. You've got Nico Barani there in 7th ahead of Spuzz, who's got Tom Quarantine a long way behind him. Tom's got Johnny right on the back of him. You've got Matev there ahead of Lowell 3000, and then a bit of a gap back to Scooter Paul, who's got Epiphany all over him coming into Lesmo 1. Yellow Army right on the back of these guys as well. It's been an electric first couple of laps or first few laps, not first couple of laps, we're a few laps in now, but it's been a very exciting first few laps here to this opening round of the Tier 1 Championship for the PlayStation 5 GT3 Championship here at Motive. Awesome Gumball in the pits at the end of lap 4. Lap 3 should I say, sorry, I can't even count. But Johnny's right on the back of Tom here as they're coming down the back straight. Is he going to be able to make a move at the end of the back straight? Let's keep an eye on this, as he's just a little bit too far back coming into the Parabolica just at the moment. Gap between Jazzman and Tynus 1.6, so Jazzman is just slowly eking out his gap bit by bit. Johnny's pretty close on the back of Tom at the moment, 0.3 of a second separating these two as they're coming over the line here to start lap 5. Johnny, is he going to be able to make a move into turn 1? I don't think he is just at the moment. As we see Epiphany into the pits, and so is High Grade as well. So Epiphany and High Grade both coming in at the end of lap 4. Tom's still just ahead of Johnny at the moment. You can see those two separated by 0.6 of a second. Jazzman 2 seconds clear of Tynus. MVGT about 4 seconds off of the lead at this point. Max Power around 6 seconds off of the lead. MVGT is just trying to hold on to these top two at the moment, but it seems like he's struggling to match them consistently at this stage. 19 if you're currently watching the stream, smash the like button guys if you're enjoying tonight's stream. But Jazzman just slowly pulling away here ahead of Tynus. We don't know what the strategies are at this point. We don't know who's done a full tank and who's gone for sort of like a half tank, if you see what I mean. So these could change. These orders might not be representative at this stage. Johnny's still on the back of Tom Quarantine, but still can't make a move at this point. Ludo is on the back of Mary Louise as they're coming into the Ascari chicane. Glenn GT there is on the back of Brando at the moment in 15th and 16th places. As Ludo here is making the move on Mary Louise up towards the Parabolica, so he must have got a better run out of the Ascari chicane. So that's now Ludo up into 17th place. Yellow Army's on the back of Scooter Paul. In fact, has he made the move on him? I think he might have done. Yes, he has. Yellow Army up into 13th place. Brando now looking to try and get Paul as well here. But Glenn, Ludo and Mary Louise are on the back of these as well. So this is now quite a long train of cars here battling over P13. It's a 7-car train essentially. So there's a lot of cars. Oh! As into the wall there goes... Ludo? Was it Ludo that went into the wall? It was Ludo, yeah. Ludo there went into the wall cone into the turn 1, so he's got a bit of damage on the left front of that car. Scooter Red Bull still just ahead of Brando. Brando having a little look to the inside in towards the Della Rocha chicane. Too far back, can't quite make it happen. But Ludo there losing a few places. Oh, is that Glenn in the foreground? It was Glenn there, getting it all wrong through the Della Rocha chicane. He's going to lose out to Mary Louise. Mary Louise round the outside. Easy pickings, P16 there for him. So that'll be frustrating there for Glenn, down to P17. He'll have Ludo now on the back of him as well. Brando still trying to hassle Scooter Red Bull here for P14. But the gap's a little bit more than what it was. Yellow Army's just gapped these two whilst they've been at it behind him. Ludo very close on the back of Glenn. Oh, Glenn very gets it very wrong on the exit of Ascari. Surely that's going to be easy pickings there for Ludo. Did Ludo? No, he had to go onto the grass, and Ludo into the wall. We'll have more damage there on the right side of that car. He's already got damage on the left side. Now the right side of that car has taken a battering as well. Glenn was trying to restrict his space and kind of force him to make a bit of a ballsy move. And Ludo will now have damage on the right side of the car. Is he going to come into the pits? Oh, he's got it. Oh, he just holds it. That was not a full spin, but it was pretty much a bit of a catastrophic situation there for Ludo. He's staying out for the time being, so clearly the damage he doesn't find completely unhandleable. But right now, Yellow Army, Scooter Red Bull, Brando still battling over 13th, 14th and 15th places. Jazzman's gap to Tynus just under 3 seconds. MVGT's just gained a little bit of time here on Tynus over the last couple of laps. That's now under 2 seconds between those two. Tom's managed to gap Johnny. Caterpillar's gapping Tom. So it's kind of just everybody's just kind of pulling away from each other at this point. Scooter Paul's gained a bit actually on Yellow Army here. Brando coming under increasing pressure from Mary Louise. There's Glenn dropping off of these guys a bit there in P17. Ludo with that mistake, 7 seconds behind now. Arlampa is the highest runner of the drivers to have come into the pits already. Karmasa is 8 seconds behind him. Epiphany, GT Jamie, High Grade all struggling here so far. Awesome Gumball not having the opening round to the season. He had won, I'm sure about that. Spur Time says great to be able to relax with a coffee and watch the race unfold. Yeah, you're in the luxurious position now, Spur Time. And Glenn's the one out there struggling amongst the mid-pack here in Tier 1. But Brando's right on the back of Mary Louise. You can see these two guys coming down towards the Parabolica. In fact, Mary Louise just pulled out a bit from Brando there. So he's obviously made the move and has now started to pull out the gap a bit to Brando. So Brando, maybe he can try and keep himself there and maybe try and pull up onto the back of Scooter Red Bull. Mary Louise will be definitely eyeing up Scooter Red Bull at this point now. Keeping that on the gaps at the front. Jazzman 2.8 to Tynus. MVGT 2.3 behind Tynus. So MVGT about 5 seconds off of the lead. Max Power about 8 seconds off of the lead at this stage. Luca about 10 seconds off the lead. Nicola about 12 seconds off. So Jazzman's continuing to do what he does best. He's got them all up against it here in the early stages of this season, showing that he's definitely still the man to be in this PlayStation 5 GT3 Championship Tier 1. Nico's currently closing up onto the back of Luca a little bit here for P5. Caterpillar's just dropped down a bit. I didn't see what happened to Caterpillar, but he's lost a couple of places and he's now got Matev all over the back of him in this battle for the final top 10 spot. And Caterpillar's got damage on the front of the car, so he's had a bit of a knock somewhere. I don't know where, but something's happened to him here which has cost him a bit of front end grip, I'm sure, and rear end as well. You can see the rear of the car has also taken a bit of a knock. There's Luca coming into the pits here at the end of lap 8. Jazzman still your leader by just under 3 seconds. Tynus there in second. He's got just under 3 seconds back to MVGT. There's Max Power, who's a few seconds clear of Nico Barani at this stage. There's Spuzz running in P6. Lucas now got his pit stop done and is off and on his way. Looked like that was a stop and go there. Nothing more there for him. So Luca now back out on track, but he's got traffic here as you would expect coming in so early. So he comes out behind Mary Louise. And just ahead I think of Scuderia Paul. Or maybe not. No, sorry, he's come out just behind Lowell 3000. So that's where Lucas popped out. He's come out. No, he has come out behind Mary Louise. That's where I thought he was. Yeah. So he's between Mary Louise and Scuderia Paul. P14 at the moment. So he's got work to do if he wants to keep his position up high. Obviously, his net high position that he's got. But Jazzman leading by 3 seconds, continuing to pull out his gap at the moment, looking to be in control of this race so far. But strategy could play a part here. It depends on how much fuel he's got in the car. Has he half tanked it? What's Tynus doing with his fuel? Have any of the guys in behind decided to half tank it? You know, what is the plan here for some of these drivers? As Matev seems to be on the back of Caterpillar right now. These two coming down the start-finish straight. So Matev here coming into turn 1, just a little bit too far back on Caterpillar right now. Caterpillar's got that held on to. Luca is trying to get some positions gained here. He's on the back of Mary Louise still, but Mary Louise obviously driving his own race, doesn't have to let Luca through. He's not a lap down. Even if he was a lap down, GT3 rules state that you don't have to let people through. Matev still on the back of Caterpillar, but not quite close enough at the moment to make a move. Jazzman is still your leader. He's got 3.5 seconds at the moment over Tynus. Tynus has got 4.2 to MVGT, so MVGT's continuing to drop off of Tynus a bit. Max Power is now a bit closer to MVGT than what he was. Max Power only 2 seconds now off of a podium place. They're continuing to pull away from Nico Barani. Spuzz still running in P6 at this point. We know he's got pace around this track. I found out on Wednesday in the social race where he was all over the back of me and managed to get past me and pull away from me. And this is a track that I quite like as well, so I knew he had pace. Matev is currently on the back of Caterpillar as they're coming down towards the Parabolica. 9th and 10th places right now. But Jazzman, 3.5 seconds is his gap right now. Tynus in the house, maybe just starting to come back at him at this stage in the stint. Gap staying at 3.5 seconds. If Tynus can keep the gap at 3.5 seconds when we get to the pit stops, then that will be a decent position to keep Jazzman on his toes, keep the pressure on him. 3.5 seconds over 10 laps. Jazzman is averaging 0.3 a lap quicker at this stage. But that's not too bad so far from Tynus. He's definitely got Jazzman within spin range. Tynus knows that if Jazzman makes one little mistake, he'll be there ready to pounce, that's for sure. 17 if you're currently watching the stream, smash the like button guys if you're enjoying tonight's action across tier 2 and now the tier 1 here for the PlayStation 5 GT3 Championship. Matev is still on the back of Caterpillar, still can't find a way through at the moment. He's been on the back of him for a considerable number of laps now, but he just hasn't seemed to be able to find any chinks in the armour at this stage. Luca is on the back of Yellow Army, so he's got ahead of Mary Louise and is now trying to get ahead of Yellow Army. But the problem for Luca right now is that he's stuck in traffic, and these guys are just driving their own races. They're just getting on with their own thing, and he's losing time, obviously, in his net battles up ahead. He has now got ahead of Yellow Army, actually, so he's now up into 12th place. But it's going to be frustrating for him at this stage because he knows that he's in a net battle up the front in the top 5s, definitely. So he's just going to be probably getting a bit impatient at this stage. I'm noticing also on the timing board that Max Power's got the gap under 2 seconds now to MVGT. These two are essentially in a battle for the podium places. Gap between Jazzman and Tyner staying at 3.6. It's been consistently like that for the last couple of laps, so these two very evenly matched, as we already know, and they're trading lap times at this stage. Caterpillar even is still holding off Matev. There's a driver called Connor on Project Cars too. I was thinking of him. Why am I thinking of him? But Matev right now still on the back of Connor here. So Matev here currently still pressuring the back of Caterpillar. You can see these two 0.6 of a second apart. Mary Louise has actually got onto the back of Yellow Army. These two have dropped off for Luca quite considerably now. Obviously Luca driving his own race. He's obviously been into the pits already, but he's now gapped these two by nearly 3 seconds. Mary Louise still trying to find a way through, but Yellow Army's just gapped him actually a little bit on this lap so far. It looks like it's a bit more than half a second between those two. Not much more, still under a second, but a bit more than half a second now separating those two. Ludo's now ahead of Scuderia Paul up into P15. Gap's come down a bit between Jazzman and Tynus. Not much, only 2 tenths, but Tynus has made some gains here on Jazzman, that's for sure. These two are consistently pulling away from MVGT, who's running in 3rd place currently. He's got Max Power, who's just over a second behind him, so Max Power's made some considerable gains here on MVGT over the last few laps. Matev still can't find a way through ahead of Caterpillar right now. Caterpillar's holding firm and not allowing any chinks in the armour to form right here. He's doing a great job. What happens to Mary Louise, but he's dropped a little bit off of Yellow Army here. Maybe that damage on the front end starting to really cost him. But that looks like it's over a second there between those two. Scuderia Paul's lost out to Brando and Glenn, so I don't know what happened there to Paul. He has got a bit of damage on the front end as well, which will be not ideal at all there for him. Scuderia Paul driving in the Aston Martin this season. We've seen him in the driving in the Bentley and the Mercedes, I think, in the past, but he's gone for the Aston this time around. As Ludo currently coming through the pits here and into the box again. Not again, sorry, but he's into the box, that's what I'm trying to say. So Ludo not having the night really so far, to be honest, and it looks like he missed his pit box as well, just to compound matters. Caterpillar's still keeping ahead of Matev here. You can see this battle has been going on for some time and continuing as it has been. GT Jamie says, had to dip out, mate. My shoulder's done and I can't get a single lap in tonight. Apologies. Don't worry about it, man. It's all right. It's your first race back in. I'm sure you'll get back into it. It just takes a race or two sometimes. You have to put in the practice. When you're racing against these drivers that are in this Tier 1 championship, you really do have to put in the practice. But yeah, hopefully we'll catch you next week, mate. Hopefully it'll go a bit better next time out. But no, don't worry, no hard feelings on the dropout. These things happen. Jazzman currently 3.3 the gap over Tynus. The gap's come down a bit more on that lap actually. 3 tenths Tynus gained. So it's ebbing and flowing right now. But Tynus is keeping Jazzman very much under pressure. Jazzman just gained 3 tenths coming through the Curva Grande into the Della Rosa chicane there. But on the whole, it's pretty much staying consistent here between these two. Jazzman just managed to, I think, get the upper hand in the early stages, managed to pull out a bit of a gap in the first few laps, maybe managed to warm the tyres up a bit better, but now Tynus is matching him, but the gap was already about 3.5 seconds by the time that Tynus started to match him. As MVGT in the background runs wide out of Lismo too, but so does Max Power, to be fair. The gap kind of ebbing and flowing between these two as well for that 3rd spot. They've got a bit of a gap to Nico running in 5th, who's got a further 4 seconds back to Spuzz. Tom a long way behind in 7th. He's got a reasonable cushion back to Johnny in 8th. Caterpillar and Matev still running in 9th and 10th, still running very close. They're not too far from Johnny either, so that could quickly become a 3-way battle for 8th place. There's only about 5 seconds covering Tom down to Matev, so that could potentially be a 4-way battle for 7th at some point in the race. Again, we'll have to see how it all unfolds. Luca's currently running in 11th place, having already been into the pits. I'm expecting him to come out in the top 5 by the time that all the pit stops are done, but again, we just have to wait and see. Our Lamper is about 30 seconds behind Luca at the moment, and I think it's probably on course for a mid-pack sort of finish as it stands. But yeah, he's currently running in P15. In the background there, you've got a bit of a battle going on as well. Is that for position? I don't think it is. No, that is Glenn, who is battling with... Yeah, it must be for position, yeah. That's Glenn and Paul battling, sorry Paul. Glenn very close to losing it coming out of Ascari. Just holds on to it. Wow, that was tight there. Johnny into the pits here at the end of lap 15. But lots of drivers came in very early, sort of in the first 10 minutes of the race, for damage and probably just to try and go for an alternative strategy with so much unpredictability, and obviously you don't want to be stuck in the pack. Podium next week, says GT. Says GT Jamie. Hopefully GT. Hopefully Jamie. Hopefully you can challenge up the top. It's going to be very hard because this league, I tell you what, the standard is going up every season. I mean, the pace of the guys at the front, you know, knocking on the doors of the 47s, the top 6, insane stuff it really is. But good luck to you, mate. If you can get close to them, then it's no mean feat. As we see Johnny coming out of the pits here, coming back out onto the track. So Johnny's come out, and he's come out just behind, don't know actually, to be fair. No, I can't work it out. It's a Bentley, so it must be, it's probably Jazzman or Tynus. Yeah, it's Tynus. So there are 2 leaders there coming through the Curva Grande down towards the Della Rosa chicane. So it's 3.3 currently the gap between Jazzman and Tynus. So Tynus continuing to keep Jazzman on his toes, chipping away here and there, but not really gaining enough. Jazzman, you see in the foreground there going through Lesmo 1. There's Tynus now coming into the same corner. They've gapped MVGT by quite some way. MVGT's still got max power just over a second behind him, so that gap's staying consistent. As a general theme, I'd say max power is gaining on MVGT, but still quite close. I tell you what, I don't know what's happened here to Nico. Sorry, not Nico. Sorry, Spars. Is he in a battle with some? Yeah, he's in a battle with some back markers here, by the looks of it. That is Epiphany and High Grade here, who are trying to battle over 18th place, and Spars is trying to lap these guys. Poor Spars probably doesn't know which way to turn right now. There's High Grade trying to round the outside here of Epiphany, and that is a great move there from High Grade. Really beautifully done, executed that to perfection. Spars is still stuck behind these guys, which is going to be a bit annoying for him. But High Grade there with a great move up into 18th place. Now we see Spars there making a move around the outside of Epiphany, who lets him past, obviously a lap down. But Spars would have lost a bit of time there being stuck behind Epiphany. Now he's got to also clear High Grade, and Epiphany is now falling back into the clutches of Ludo, having had to let the leader of Spars, who's P6, obviously a lap ahead of them, having had to let him through. He's now dropped back into the clutches, and Ludo is now looking around the outside of Epiphany into turn 1. Can Epiphany hold on here? Ludo's going to try all the way around the outside. He'll have the inside for the second part of the first chicane. Oh, I'll tell you what there, that was Epiphany very wide. Ludo couldn't get the traction though out of the corner, and will have to go again through the curve of Grande. Can he get a run around the outside here? Ludo looks to have slightly better momentum here than Epiphany. Coming through the curve of Grande down towards De La Roja. He's going to be getting around the outside here. That's going to be job done there for Ludo, and he's up into P18 should I say. So that's job done there for Ludo. Glenn is currently on the back of Scuderia Paul. These two battling it out over 13th and 14th places. MVGT's got the gap at 1.3 to max power. Jazzman has just gained a little bit on tiredness, 0.3 or so in the last lap. That gap's back up to 3.6. 22 of you currently watching the stream. Smash the like button, guys, if you're enjoying the stream here tonight. What an absolutely fantastic night of racing we've had so far across both tiers. Glenn into the pits here at the end of lap 17. As Caterpillar has got a stop go penalty. I didn't notice that until just now. So Caterpillar has got done for, I imagine, speeding in the pits. That's usually the infringement that yields a stop go penalty of 30 seconds. But he's going to have to come back in and make another stop. Might as well have not even come in the first time. Glenn now into the pits as well here. Well, he's coming out of the pits. But Jazzman's just extending the gap to Tynus a little bit. Almost 4 seconds now between these two. Looks like they're both full tanking it because they're going well past the halfway point. I imagine that all of the other guys here behind them, MVGT, Max Power, sorry, Nico, Spars, Tom, Matter, looks like all of these guys are full tanking it because they're going well beyond the halfway point here in this race. Jazzman's still your man though, leading this race by just under 4 seconds. Tynus just gaining a 10th there through the middle sector, not really making massive gains here. Looks like Brando and Glenn are having a good little battle here for 20th place. As Brando there is just coming through Ascari's, Glenn there just moving around a bit. Seems like he's not really confident there through that part of the track. Saying that, he gets a better run than Brando this time. Will he get enough closing speed to make a move into Parabolica? I don't think he's quite close enough just at the moment. Oh, Glenn gets his braking zone all wrong. Did Brando maybe catch him out a bit with where he braked, but Glenn going straight on in the Parabolica, and he's onto the gravel. No, what a shame. Oh, and Glenn's going to lose out here to Yellow Army, I think. No, he gets it going well before Yellow Army gets to the scene, but Brando in the meantime is just being lapped here by one of the prominent drivers. So that's Matev there just putting a lap on Brando, but Brando being given a bit of a respite there from Glenn going off into the Parabolica there. Ludo's currently on the back of High Grade as these two are battling out over 15th place. 7 tenths currently separating those two into Lesmo 1. Gap between MVGT and Max Power still 1.4. The gap between the top two is 4 seconds right now, so Jazzman looks like he's just about got hold of Tynus at this point, but who's going to have looked over after their tyres better between those two? Both of them still need to come in as well, so can Tynus maybe get an even quicker stop? You can actually influence how quick your stop is by how efficiently you manage to stop in the box. So could that be where Tynus might be able to gain a bit of time here in this race? As Ludo's still on the back of High Grade, these two coming down the back straight here once again. MVGT and Max Power currently separated by 1.6 at the moment, so this battle for the podium places is still going on. There's not really much separating them at all, if I'm honest, in terms of actual pace, but MVGT's just had track position. The gap's been staying between 1.2 and 1.8 pretty much for the last, I would say, probably about the last 20 minutes or so. So it's just been very much even between these two, even Stevens. They're about sort of 12, 14 seconds off of the lead at Jazzman. Jazzman's gap to Tynus now just over 4 seconds, so Jazzman at this stage in the race just starting to eke out his gap a little bit, but has he taken more out of his tyres than Tynus maybe? That's the question. Scuderia Paul into the pits here at the end of lap 21 for him. No, lap 20 for him, sorry. And Jazzman and Tynus still going at this stage. Paul there off on his way now, so he's getting going again. The gap between Jazzman and Tynus is just under 5 seconds at this stage, so Jazzman's just got it in hand right now. Can he hold on to this momentum though? Looks like Tynus must have made a mistake because the gap was around 3.5 seconds. It's now 4.8, so maybe Tyner's just starting to push a little bit too hard, knows that he needs to be taking a few tenths out of Jazzman a lap if he is to be able to win this race. Probably needs about half a second a lap now at this point if he is to even have a shot at it. Welcome to Stale. They're saying good evening, Andy and viewers. Seb, they're also saying still live. You've been at it for 3 hours. Is it really? Wow. I didn't realise it was that long. Oh yeah, it is actually. Yeah, because we started streaming at 6:30. Yeah, well, that's what happens when you got two tiers with long races in each one. But yeah. Obviously running 2 tiers for the PS5 GT3 Championship. We had 26 drivers in tier 2. We had 24 start the race in tier 1, so over 50 drivers actually racing with us tonight. Great turnout here for the GT3 round 1 here. Spuzz is just coming out of the pits now, so he's the latest driver to make his mandatory pit stop. But yeah, you've got to have dedication when you're running a sim racing league, when you're running streams and you want good quality, you want the drivers to be able to enjoy watching it back. You've got to really put in the work, you've got to put in the time and effort to be able to run a solid sim league. As you well know, Seb, I know you run your own outfit, obviously more gaming than just racing, but you know how it is. You've got to have dedication to the cause. But Jazzman currently just over 5 seconds is his gap right now over Tynus, and it does appear to be extending it at this stage. Let's keep an eye on the gap as they come over the line. It's still 5.3 at this point, but I think barring any incidents or any mistakes from Jazzman, he should have this first round of the season in the bag, as Tynus says, just putting a lap there on somebody. I think it was Karmasai, yeah it was. I knew it was an Audi, I just wasn't sure which one. Yes sir, keep up the grind my friend. Do you want to talk after the race? I've got to chat to my mate Ryan about something after this, but yeah sure. Well I mean I've got to be up early in the morning, but we definitely should catch up at some point. I would like to, whenever possible. I do need to go to bed shortly after this. I've just got to like jump in a call, but yeah sure, definitely we should catch up at some point. It'd be good to have a little chin wag. Spuzz has got a stop go penalty. Wow, what's happened to Spuzz here? He is picks up a 30-second stop go penalty, I assume for speeding in the pits. That's what you usually get them for. So yeah, he's really shot himself in the foot there. Mary Louise still yet to come in and make his stop. The top 7 all still yet to come in and make their pit stop as well. Everybody else has already been into the pits to make their stop. We had 24 start the tier 1 race tonight. We've currently got 22 out on track. But a great turnout tonight here for the first round of the tier 1 championship, and for the tier 2s, but earlier this evening as well. We see high grades currently on the back of Epiphany here in this battle for 15 and 16 places. Epiphany's just actually gained a bit on high grade over this latest sort of lap or so. It seems to be in a bit more of a comfortable range at this stage. Coming under increasing pressure here from low 3000. Is low 3000 going to have a chance here? He's going to look to the inside. He's going to actually breeze past him there into the braking zone. Oh, low 3000's gone deep, very deep. Almost collects Epiphany and manages to take to the escape road there. Low 3000 there, having a bit of a nightmare. Sorry, it wasn't Epiphany. Sorry, it was Caterpillar. But LOL 3000, they're getting it wrong. As they come into the Della Rosa chicane, all Caterpillars looking up the inside of High Grade. High Grade there losing out to Caterpillar, and Caterpillar up into 17th place now. So plenty of chopping changing going on here. Thank you very much, sir. Appreciate the kind words, man. I really do. Very kind of you to say. I'm pretty stoked as well to have 20 people watching. I think it's because we've got so many drivers racing tonight. More people watching because there's more drivers. You obviously got like people who raced in tier 2 can watch the tier 1s. You have people who are racing in, obviously now probably watching earlier. So, you know, and you also obviously got friends, family members, and loads of new drivers probably sharing it with their friends and stuff. So you've just got quite a lot of people. I think it's the perfect storm tonight in terms of views, but I'm absolutely delighted with the turnout and with the viewer count as well. Really cool tonight. I'm very, very grateful for how well tonight has gone. But Spud's still yet to serve his stop go penalty. He's still going out there at the moment. We'd see Luca's now into 7th place ahead of Matev. So Luca's obviously been into the pits already. He's now ahead of Matev. Where's Luca going to get to in this race? Because he's already been in. We can see somebody just going in there in front of him. That is Scuderia Paul, and that's High Grade coming in. Scuderia Paul was already in, so High Grade was just being lapped there by Luca. Luca now continuing on his way, but where is Luca going to get to here? Is he going to cut the top 5? Is he going to cut into the top 5 here? Is he going to maybe try and get himself close to the podium spots? How far away is he going to be? As Jazzman's got just over 6 seconds at the moment over Tynus in the house. MVGT's got 3 seconds back to Max Power at this point. Max Power's got 4 seconds back to Nico. So there's not really much separating the top drivers. In fact, there's only 20 seconds covering the top 5. So it's been a really solid showing from Nico as well, creeping closer to the leaders as this race is going on. Well, when I say creeping closer to the leaders, I mean he's getting closer to MVGT and Max Power. He's not on the pace of Jazzman and Tynus, but he's keeping MV and Max Power on their toes. You know, I wouldn't rule out Nico of a podium at this point. If he can get a good pit stop, then he might be able to do so. He's coming in now. So Nico Barani into the pits here at the end of lap 26. And Jazzman's still going as the stop go penalty for car number 108 Spuz is now done. And Nico currently in the pits at this point, as he's now on the jacks. It looks like he's now off and away, so a very quick pit stop indeed there for Nico Pirani. That's exactly what he needed. Now can he get it closer? Can he jump maybe MVGT or Max Power? We'll have to see once they come in. Jazzman, Tynus, MVGT, Max Power, all these guys will be hoping that they can get smooth pit stops, because any little extra time in the box will make a huge difference with the fact that they're all pretty close to each other. When I say close to each other, I mean the fact that we've had, you know, nearly 50 minutes of action, and the fact that they're still only separated by like 15 seconds. It's not much really when you think about it. But Nico, where has he come out? Actually, he's come out behind Luca. So Luca could be in a podium place here. Luca is 8 seconds clear of Nico. Nico had a really quick pit stop, and Nico, I reckon Luca's going to come out in 3rd. I think Luca's currently in a net 3rd place here in this race, so he's really played the strategy well by coming in for that early pit stop. He could have done himself an absolute treat here. I don't think he's going to be close enough to Tynus for P2, but I reckon that Luca could definitely be on for a 3rd place finish here, and that would be absolutely brilliant there for him. Obviously Jazzman, Tynus still yet to come in, so is MVGT, Max Power and Tom as well, but Tom's a little way off for the leaders. Matev also still needs to come in. Where's our Lamper going to come out in relation to some of these guys? He's a little way off of Nico, to be fair. I don't think he's in a position to challenge for any top 5 spots. But he could come out ahead of Tom and Matev. So our Lamper could maybe be on for a top 7 here, potentially. Matev into the pits, and so is Nico. So these two both coming in here at the end of lap 27. And the gap between MVGT and Max Power is 3.6 seconds. So any sort of little mistakes in the pits for MVGT could give Max Power a chance at that position. But we believe, I think, if my calculations are correct, I think both of these two are going to lose out to Luca when they come in. I don't think they've got enough of a gap to Luca to stay ahead of him when they come in for their mandatory pit stops. Matev, in the meantime, has jumped Nico in the pits. So Nico getting a slow stop there. Matev is out. Miles behind Luca as predicted. And he's coming out. Matev has come out just behind a lap car there. Or no, in fact, that is the race leader. So the race leader Jazzman has lapped the driver running in P8. That is unbelievable. That is really quite astounding there. Having said that, Jazzman hasn't been into the pits yet, so it's not representative. Sorry, not even with it, am I? I'm just talking rubbish. Jazzman obviously still needs to come into the pits, so it's not in any way representative. He's not going to be anywhere near lapping Matev by the end of the race, so do ignore that. That was just completely pointless information there from me. But Jazzman currently 6 seconds ahead of Tinus at the moment. MVGT a further 9 seconds back, 15 seconds off of the lead. He's gapped Max Power a little bit. Max Power is now about 20 seconds off of the race leader. Tom Quarantine coming into the pits here at the end of lap 28. So he'll be stopping in his box in due course. Tinus there running in second place. He's 6 seconds behind Jazzman right now. MVGT there running in third place. He's got a bit of a gap back to Max Power still. Luca there in P5. Tom's just on his way out of the pits now. As you can see there, our Lamper there moving through up into P6. Buzz is a nightmare in the pits. He's the driver who's really lost out massively through the pit window. He's down to P30. I didn't really see what happened to him, to be honest with you. He's just fallen by the wayside somewhere. I don't really know where it went wrong for him, to be honest. But he's nowhere to be seen right now. Jazzman nonetheless into the pits at the end of lap 29. He's now off and away and trundling down to the end of the pit lane. So his gap was 6 seconds to Tinus before he came in. Luca's coming to the into the Parabolica. Jazzman's gap to Luca about 20 seconds. I tell you what, Luca might get P4, but he might miss out on P3 here. I don't think he's going to get onto the podium now. Just looking at the gap between Jazzman and Luca. Jazzman coming into Della Roja, Luca just coming out of the first chicane. So I reckon there's about 20 seconds between them on the road. So Luca might be able to challenge Max Power for P4, but I don't think he's going to be able to get MVGT for third. I think that's probably just a little bit beyond him. Again, this is developing as we speak, so we'll have to see. But yeah, I reckon that might not be possible for him now. Jazzman is 33 seconds behind Tinus, and Tinus is now into the pits, so he's now making his stop. Obviously he was 6 seconds behind Jazzman when Jazzman came in. A smooth stop, we'll see him come out probably about 5-6 seconds behind Jazzman. They should be able to see out P2 from here. Jazzman coming into the Parabolica will be about to take the net race lead. Max Power coming into the pits. MVGT will take the lead for the time being, but he does need to come into the pits to make his stop. Tynus is now off and away. Jazzman just coming down the start finish straight. Tynus out of the pits. Jazzman over the line past the pit lane to take the net race lead. Up into P2 temporarily, but MVGT still needs to come into the pits. Jazzman has managed to hold firm and keep the lead ahead of Tynus. Has just had the edge over him tonight. And barring any simply monumental incidents in the last couple of laps, it is going to be Jazzman's opening win of the season in the opening race, and a great start to his campaign. A former PS5 GT3 champion here at Motive, the first PS5 GT3 champion. Now in the third season will be looking to try and regain the title which PS Vids won off of him last season. Jazzman was only a reserve last season, wasn't able to make all the races. This time he is back, and back with a vengeance to try and regain his crown. MVGT here coming through the Ascari chicane, so he's got to come in either this time or the next one. It's up to him which one he does it, but he's got to come in this time or the next. Is he going to stay out, lead a lap, or is he just going to come in and get his pit stop done this time? Let's see what MVGT does here. I think he is coming in this time. Yes, he is. So MVGT, end of lap 31. Into the pits he comes. Leaving it until almost the last possible moment, or one lap short of the last possible moment actually, as it turned out. Jazzman's gap to Tynus is 5.6, so Jazzman just needs to see this one out. Where is Luca going to come out in relation to MVGT? That's the question. He's come out well clear of Max Power, 6 seconds clear of Max Power. Can Luca get the jump here on MVGT? Obviously Luca came in for a very early pit stop. MVGT's now off and away. Luca's coming out of the Parabolica. I think MVGT's going to have this done. I think he's going to hold on here. Luca coming out of the final corner. MVGT is going to come out ahead of Luca. Luca's going to be about 4 or 5 seconds behind MVGT, I think, by the time they get to turn 1. So there is MVGT back out on the track in third place. And there is Luca just coming into turn 1. So yeah, gap about 5 or 6 seconds there separating MVGT and Luca. So Luca might have to settle for P4. He's managed to get ahead of Max Power though, so it's not bad there for him. Oh, Lampa is up into P5. So he's really gained there with the pit stops for Matev, Mikola, and a few others by the looks of it. He's managed to gain quite a bit here. So that's great news there for him. But in the meantime, what's happened to Tynus? Oh no! What's happened to Tynus in the house? Are you kidding me? He's disconnected. I was wondering why Lampa was in P5. Oh no, that is gutting there for Tynus. He's out of the race with 2 laps left, through no fault of his own. That's frustrating.
On the final lap, give it all you can.
For Tynus in the house. Jazzman starts the final lap of the race, lap 33. He's got a solid enough gap back to MVGT. Spur Time says to Glenn GT, what happened? Powell had to quickly wait. Skill issues there, says DC, says Ryan about Tynus. Yeah, I thought so. Spur Time says, sorry, I saw no time against your name. Carry on, pal. Yeah, I think so. But Jazzman here coming through the Curva Grande for the final time here in this Tier 1 race. Into the De La Roja chicane he comes. So that was MVGT we were watching there, sorry. This is Jazzman. He's coming actually up down underneath the old circuit and up towards Ascari. And he's been handed a bit of a walk over here. Obviously, Tynus was in about 5 or 6 seconds of him. He still had a reasonable gap, but Tynus in the house disconnecting with 2 laps left to go. What rotten luck for him. And Jazzman here coming down towards the Parabolica here for the final time for this opening round of the season, and what a job it's been from him. Has just duly gone about his business, been pretty much faultless, has just gradually extended the gap to Tynus over the course of the race. Tynus keeping him on the same page, but Jazzman has just had that little bit of an edge here. He comes out of the Parabolica and up towards the line. It's going to be race 1 of the season for Jazzman, the former champion of the PS5 championship here for the GT3s and ACC at Motive. Gets himself started on the right foot and on the road to regaining the crown which he lost last season to PS Vids. Obviously as a reserve last season, didn't compete as a regular in the championship and couldn't really defend his crown properly. MVGT comes over to take 2nd place tonight ahead of Luca, who finishes in 3rd place completing the podium. Max Power comes over to take 4th place here in the end, 7 seconds behind Luca. Tom Quarantine is coming through Ascari and it's going to be P5 for him as he comes down towards the Parabolica. So Tom Quarantine at P5, some good points there for him, I tell you what. He'll be happy with that. And what has happened to our Lamper? What's happened to him? He's in the pits. He was going to finish P5, he's now down in P17, so what's gone on there with him? Tom Quarantine nonetheless inherits P5 fortuitously there. Matev is coming out of the Parabolica and it will be P6 for him. Mary Louise, Ludo, Counterpillar, Epiphany, LOL 3000, Yellow Army and Brando have all finished the race. Matev coming up towards the line to take 6th place here. Nico coming over to take 7th place in the end. Johnny is going to fight to the flag by the looks of it with Spuzz, who's going to come out on top in this one as they're coming down towards the Parabolica here. Spuzz looking to the outside here on Johnny. Johnny's holding that inside line. Spuzz can't get around him here. And it's going to be Johnny there to take 8th ahead of Spuzz, who finishes in 9th place. So Johnny holds on in that battle. And our Lamper looks like he retired with a couple of laps left to go. Scooter Paul retired a few laps there from the end. But that is that then for tonight, ladies and gentlemen. What racing we've seen across both tiers here for the GT3s on the PlayStation 5 here at Motive on Assetto Corsa Competizione. Jazzman, MVGT and Luca taking the podium places. Commiserations to Tynus because he retired through no fault of his own through a disconnection. Absolutely gutting there for him. But what action we've seen across both tiers here tonight, guys. I'm absolutely shattered. This is the first time in ages that I've done a full sort of 3.5-4 hour stream. But it's been very enjoyable indeed. And Jazzman, well done to you taking the first win of the season. Thanks everybody for joining us here tonight. I'm going to wrap it up because it's getting late and I need to go to bed because I need to be up at 4 o'clock in the morning tomorrow morning. RIP. But yeah, thanks everybody once again. Smash the like button if you've enjoyed tonight's stream. If you haven't subscribed, please do so, as it really does help us out. If you're interested in joining the leagues, be sure to go to www.motiveracing.com. And yeah, we'll catch you later, guys. Have a great rest of your weekend, what's left of it, and good night.